live from the frigid armpit of America, this is the Drunken Peasants Podcast with Ben and TJ, bringing you opinions of the news from an altered perspective.
Say, man, you got a joint? No, not on me, man. It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
And now, here are your hosts, Ben and TJ.
And Scotty. Welcome to the Drunken Peasants Podcast. I'm Ben. I'm here with TJ and Scotty, the not-so-sober noble.
I feel
Yeah, this is the first time during the show that Scotty is partaking in some liquid nourishment.
Scotty has given up his straight-edge lifestyle.
I actually point out to TJ that if they actually were drunken peasants, that they actually would have less access to alcohol, and medieval alcohol is only about 1% by volume. So being like royalty or nobility,
1% alcohol by volume.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But I would have wine or something that would have
1% by volume doesn't even make fucking sense.
Whatever, you know what I was saying.
You're crazy.
I'm just surprised that someone, like some troll in the comments, never pointed that out. Actually, you guys couldn't be peasants.
Actually. Any sentence that begins like that is a bad sentence.
Actually, you guys are retards.
Actually, you motherfuckers are so damn stupid.
Yeah, that's usually how it works.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say that Scotty stormed out because... Whoa!
Oh, God.
I was going to say that Scotty stormed out because his name wasn't in the intro.
Oh, okay.
But Ben ruined it by adding his name at the last minute.
Yeah.
We got to make a new intro that says... The Drunken Peasant Podcast with Ben and TJ and their inferior sidekick, Scotty. What? Who sucks?
Fuck that.
That's my-
too much
Who
work.
sucks and is bad in all ways.
Yes, that's my idea for an intro.
You're
Yeah.
so
That's just
kind.
sibling rivalry there, folks.
We've got quite a bit to talk about today.
No, we don't.
Okay. No, we don't. Good night.
We're just gonna get wasted. Woo!
That's a good idea. What if we just get drunk and don't even talk into the microphones? We'd be like, yeah.
I think that would be entertaining for all of our viewers.
That would be entertaining for us in the room here today in the real world. They're all fictitious things that are only numbers on a screen, so
Yeah.
what do we care? Fuck them.
176 automatons.
Fuck you, audience. You're all a bunch of cunts.
TJ wins over the crowd yet again.
Woo, we're cunts!
So the first thing we're going to cover tonight is a zoo. I believe it was in Denmark.
Copenhagen, Denmark.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Copenhagen.
Netherlands. Or is it Netherlands?
No, it's Denmark.
It's Denmark? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Copenhagen.
Yeah, a zoo in Denmark is killing giraffes and feeding them to lions. Part of it, of what I've heard, is it's to prevent inbreeding, which I don't know why they're not just sterilizing them.
They probably just ran out of lion food.
Some of them are also saying it's for educational purposes. I heard that argument too.
How is it educational?
To watch children see how lions feast upon the flesh of giraffes.
Now, first
Why don't they just watch National Geographic?
after some people shoot the giraffe in the head
Or why didn't they just put the live giraffe in
and
the
butcher
lion
it,
cage?
Yeah.
If it's really educational, put that motherfucker in there. Let the lion kill it slowly and agonizingly after a good fight. You know, if that's what you want.
Hey, I don't even know if it would fight. I think it would just try to run away.
Yeah.
Yeah, more than likely. But first clip we've got is just the general story about it, and then after that we have Jack Hanna, who is a famous animal spokesperson and also the head of the Columbus Zoo, and he's pretty pissed off about it. But we'll cover just the story first here.
The story.
The story.
The following story contains images that may be disturbing some viewers.
Animal
Viewers
lovers
advised.
around the world are shocked and baffled by a Danish zoo's decision to put down one of its giraffes. Thousands of people signed a petition online to keep 2-year-old Marius alive. Although the young giraffe was perfectly healthy, the Copenhagen Zoo said it needed to euthanize him to prevent inbreeding within the herd.
I have a question already.
Giraffe walked out here.
Couldn't they have just, like, fixed him?
Yeah. That would have been the more logical thing to do. I've also noticed that there's a huge crowd on hand. They didn't do this
Yeah, this wasn't like something that was conducted behind closed doors. This is like, hey, everybody, we're killing a giraffe. Gather around.
Yeah, it seems pretty insane. I don't know. I always thought of Denmark as such a progressive society. It kind of surprising to me.
I guess they really just wanted to see a giraffe get killed, and they just needed.
I think someone at the zoo was just like, I'm going to kill a fucking giraffe, and I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what objections are brought up. I'm going to fucking
this
do
fucking
it.
giraffe is dead. He's
In
getting
this
fed.
little ecosystem, I am God, and I'm going to play. He probably like spun a wheel, like, which animal will die today? Oh, you long-necked piece of shit, you're gonna die.
You're dead.
9:15. It
You're
was
dead,
let out in
Jimmy.
the yard over there.
You're
Then
fucking
there was a
dead.
zookeeper with some rye bread. It really likes rye bread, and he said, "Here you go, Marius. Here's some rye bread." I stood behind with a rifle, and when he put his head forward and ate the rye bread, then I shot him through the brain. It sounds violent, but it means that Marius had no idea of what was coming. He got his bread,
hey, look.
and he died.
It sounds violent, but
It's not.
somehow it's not because he didn't suffer.
Yeah.
When you
Here,
shoot,
hey, want some bread, buddy? Yeah.
when you shoot an animal, when you shoot the animal in the head with a rifle, it's like it was dead instantaneously. We did it a favor.
Kennedy was euthanized in a similarly humane fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing violent about that.
Nothing violent
it's not
there.
violent to be
He didn't
shot in
even
the
see
head.
it coming.
Kennedy did not suffer.
And they gave him some rye bread, so it's all good.
Yeah, we
I
had
think this
we
is
had
very
Jackie
important.
hold
It's
out
about
some
how
rye
this has
bread.
taken place.
The Copenhagen Zoo is defending its decision. Joining us now on the line is the zoo's scientific director, Bengt Holst. Thanks so much for talking with us. People love giraffes. Children love giraffes. Why put the giraffe down just to keep it from breeding?
Because it's part of a breeding program, and there is actually no space for him in the breeding program. That means that his genetic composition doesn't fit the other animals in the program. And when they breed well, you will reach this ceiling at some stage. And
This almost sounds Nazi-ish to me. We could not allow him to breed because his genetic composition was not right for breeding.
This is giraffe eugenics.
Yeah.
this is the place where we are right now.
He has
So
a
we
very
do
bad
have a
giraffe.
surplus, and this surplus cannot fit with the other ones in the program. So that's why.
Why not sterilize the giraffe? Why not pen him away from other giraffes? Why not take whatever measures you could to keep him alive?
Well, if
Because that would have been more expensive and harder to do.
That is not as much fun.
We'll not do this. This giraffe must die.
I
That
want
is
to
not-
I want to see things die so I can masturbate. This is the only thing that gets me off now. Why do you have problems?
Kill the
we
giraffe
just
quickly.
sterilize him, he will still take up space for the genetically more valuable giraffes. And the breeding program has a purpose of ensuring a healthy population far into the future. And if that is the all space is filled up with animals not fit for contributing to this healthy population, then it's not worth anything. So we have to make sure that the giraffes are all genetically valuable, and this was not.
Now, you're talking about this like a scientist, which is appropriate, but it sounds so cold, so mercenary, and presumably you, like so many people who work at zoos, love animals. Why not find another home for the giraffe in another zoo? Or I gather the Copenhagen Zoo was offered a lot of money by a private individual who offered to take Marius.
I also want to point out that in the later interview that we're about to see with Jack Hanna also says that he made an offer.
Yes. We have a Jack Hanna happens to be the head of the Columbus Zoo where we happen to live. It's a very large zoo. There's plenty of room for more giraffes there. So, and I'm gathering that with you know,
and if
zoos
you're,
all over the world.
There's no logical
if you're gonna
excuse, really.
if you're gonna kill the giraffe, at least make him into giraffe burgers and feed him to the tourists.
Do you want the giraffe burger to be delicious in your stomach? Eat it now!
You want to just go ahead and skip to the Jack Hanna video because I think we all get the general idea.
Yeah, this guy's an asshole.
of the
basically.
situation.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so here's Jack Hanna. Jack Hanna is more than just a zoo president. He's also the guy you would see on shows like Conan O'Brien, Jay Leno, and those shows. He brings weird animals on, and they crap on the floor. They crap on top of Jay Leno. It's pretty entertaining.
Which is the best place
It's
to
like two
crap.
turds being mashed into each other.
Yes. A turd
Jack,
on a
most
turd.
of the times we speak with you, it's a feel-good animal story. But I spoke to you earlier today, and I've never heard you so upset about anything. You say this is one of the most horrifying things you've ever heard about in your entire life.
It is, and the words, just real quick if you don't mind, and it's just here, grotesque, abominable, insensitive. I could go on with the words, but let's let that alone right now. And it is, it's probably unbelievable. And why is that? As a matter of fact, I just heard an interview where the person over there said, this is a culture, maybe a cultural difference. No, this isn't a cultural difference. Yes, when I go to Africa, I film certain countries there, they do have the giraffe as a consumption food, okay? But that's in people that are way out in the middle of nowhere. This is in a zoological park where animals are there to educate our young people and our adults, all of us, to educate all of us about this beautiful animal, the giraffe, or whatever animal it might be. There were hundreds of people that wanted to take this giraffe, including myself at our zoo and or the wilds and or many people in Europe. And so what you tell me why they did this. I don't think anybody could tell you why. I can't.
You've said this kept you up at night. The zoo says
Yes.
it was to prevent inbreeding. They do say they have a scientific reason here. They say they need to manage the population in the right way of the giraffes at this zoo and others in Europe.
That's exactly correct. If they have too many giraffes, like they're saying, right, why do they keep breeding the same genetic the giraffe this way, that same genetic line? Why do they do that, number one? Number two, if they do have a giraffe that they don't want to breed and stop it, it's very simple. There's castration, there's all kinds of birth control. Some might tell you that you can't do that to giraffe. Fine. I can tell you the Columbus Zoo in the Wilds does not do this, and we never will. We could find a home for this giraffe very easily, and so can they over there. They were offered, did you know, one man, I think, offered $500,000 to save this giraffe and give it a home. So what are they...
These people were just gung-ho to kill this fucking giraffe. This is like, this giraffe must die. Like, this giraffe must have seen some shit. Like, this giraffe witnessed the director of the zoo strangling a small boy to death or something.
They dropped a briefcase. The giraffe, like, saw, like, the contents of the briefcase, and, like, he could have, like, changed the geopolitical status of Europe, and they're like, oh, shit, this giraffe has to go.
This giraffe must die, lest he tell anyone what he has seen.
So pretty much it's total bullshit. They didn't have to kill the giraffe. They wanted to.
I'd like to hear Alex Jones's explanation, you know, for why the giraffe was killed.
The giraffe was going to poison the water.
The giraffe probably had some insight into the way Obama is destroying America.
Yeah.
I was saying the giraffe had knowledge of, like, how to poison the water supply of the skies.
The giraffe actually kind of looks like Obama. I mean, he's got the big ears.
He's probably a terrorist then.
He's got the, you know.
It confused. Maybe I can't figure it out after all these years working with animals, because right now it's hard for me to give you the answer, especially taking it, and they said they shot it. Well, that's great. And then they said that, I could think from what I've seen in the pictures, they cut it up and then they took it next door after they did that autopsy. Why do an autopsy? And then they took it next door and fed it to lions.
The head of the zoo says this was meant to be educational, and a little earlier today.
Yeah, I think the autopsy is pretty funny.
How did it die? Let's do an autopsy.
I guess that they must have just done the autopsy, like, let's show the kids, like, what a giraffe is like inside.
Yeah, and in the video we're watching, there's just tons of children huddled around the carcass of the giraffe staring at it like, what the hell? And then there's that guy that was talking.
We can go on nature and see this. There's so many nature documentaries with lions killing various animals. I mean, I don't understand, like, well, they want to see it up close and personal. It's like, isn't that just a little sadistic at this point?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely strange. When I heard about this a few days ago, it kind of blew my mind, because zoos in North America, I've been to quite a few zoos in North America, and I've never heard of any of them doing something like this. So,
yeah, and this zoo, because of all the attention, they're now gonna rape a gorilla. That's their next thing. They're gonna do.
I'm hearing stories that they are thinking about euthanizing another giraffe. I don't know how true that is, but while I was doing research on this story, I did see that they were planning on doing it too.
And they're gonna do like a bunch of creative new ways. Like the next giraffe, they're gonna use a guillotine. They want to see what it looks like when the long neck.
They're gonna hold a trial too.
Yeah, they're gonna
overthrow the monarchy of the French. You know, it's a French giraffe now.
Yeah, and then they're gonna hang a giraffe. That should be interesting. I don't know if that's gonna work.
They need a pretty tall.
They're gonna need to have. What they're gonna do is they're gonna get a helicopter and they're just gonna fly it. They're gonna have it like hover above, and they're gonna just lift the giraffe up. You know, it's gonna be very fascinating.
That's a physics demonstration too. The giraffe is gonna go really high in the air, then slam into the ground.
You know, because of the giraffe's long neck, there's plenty of creative ways that you could kill it.
He spoke to our Brooke Baldwin. Let's listen to what he said.
This is the real thing. And when we then feed it to the lions afterwards, I mean, this is just either we feed them a horse or a cow. They have to get their meat. They're carnivores. And now we could feed them a giraffe. I don't see any problem in that. I mean, this is what's happened in Africa. It can happen in Copenhagen as well. And I think the kids, they need to see sometimes what the real world is.
All right, no one in Africa is going out and shooting a giraffe and then feeding it to lions.
Yeah, that's a total straw, man. It makes no sense. Like, this is happening all the time in Africa when the lions track a wild animal down, another wild animal, and kill it through, like, the techniques have been passed down for, hundreds of generations of the species,
But, and then there's argument like, the lions, we have to feed them some kind of animal. I mean, well, why not feed them an animal that specifically has been raised and domesticated for that purpose? I mean, a giraffe is it's just not appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these animals...
Although I would eat a giraffe if I had the chance, hypocritically. Just because, I mean, I would be curious what giraffe tastes like. But I'm not going to kill one that's still alive.
So let's just review. They shot the giraffe in the head, they cut it up, and they fed it to the lions and the leopards. It sounds horrible when you say it like that, but in a way, Jack, isn't this just the circle of life? Isn't this like the nature shows they show on National Geographic where the animals are getting killed and eaten in the savannah by the lions and tigers?
Right.
There's no tigers on the savannah.
At that point of what you see on National Geographic or whatever shows, you might see, I think you've seen it once or twice on my show, but again, we're not going to be doing that. We haven't done it for years. You'll see some clips maybe on down the line, but what he's saying there is a fact that these are young people, okay? Yes, it is nature. But don't you think we ought to educate people about why it's important to have the giraffe before we show the giraffe consumed? A lot of people don't understand endangered from threatened, and there are a lot of giraffes, by the way, or several giraffe species that are very endangered, okay? So to me, that's a weak point there of educating young people about now, if they have an animal there that might pass on that they do take out and feed to their cats privately or whatever they want to do, then that's up to them, okay? I just disagree with the fact that that's anything about education.
Jack, you seem deeply and even personally offended.
Well, I mean, they received some sort of education. I don't know if the lesson was necessarily a good one, but I mean, they definitely learned something that day.
If you shoot a giraffe in the head and feed it to lions, they will definitely eat it.
If you shoot a giraffe in the head, it will die.
It's almost like...
if you feed its body parts to lions and leopards, they will eat it.
The lesson is that if a zoo has an animal, they can come up with pretty much any reason they want to kill it and feed it to some of the other animals.
Yeah, for sure.
I think they should institute this at other zoos. Where they should just have like Samuel L. Jackson come out in his full Pulp Fiction attire and recreate the famous, say what again? But do it with like other, like have him shoot like an orangutan. And
I think we should have him shoot like a penguin.
Why not have just like a fucking Thunderdome at the zoo? Like two animals enter, one animal.
Yeah, like let's see who would win between a bear and a fucking lion.
Shark versus lion.
Yeah.
And
animal deathmatch.
Explain just why.
Because I work so hard, and so do all the zoos in this country, to bring the zoological world to people when we spend tens of millions of dollars on habitats of the polar bear. 26 million we just spent. 38 million we're spending on our new African veldt to show the beautiful giraffe out there. We have a hand feeding place where the kids go up on this big old thing in the middle there, and they sit out there and they hand feed the giraffe some carrots and things like that. Wow, what a beautiful animal. That's how I want them to remember the giraffe when they leave our zoological park. They want to love something and save something. We're trying to educate these people to that. If you don't see something and love something, you can't save something.
And this kept you up last night?
Beyond, something, I've had things that it bothered me in my lifetime. This is one of the top 5. When I was told my daughter had brain tumors, when I've told I could go on and on, it's the top 5 things that ever affected me. The Zanesville incident, remember 2 years ago, where the guy had to shoot 48 animals or whatever it was because they escaped? I mean, these are memories.
Yeah, actually, that was something I was going to mention. A few years ago, we had an incident in Ohio, in Zanesville, Ohio, where this guy kind of had a small zoo in his home, in his property. I guess he had several acres, and he had all these caged wild animals like grizzly bears and lions and tigers and all sorts of
lions and tigers and bears. Oh my!
I almost knew.
You can't not do that in that situation.
That's why I said it in the opposite order. On
no, I had to. I had to do it.
You fail at life.
It was required. Someone had to fucking do it.
We know how much you love Judy Garland, but
who fucking doesn't? Somewhere over the rainbow.
The views and actions of TJ do not represent the Drunken Peasants podcast.
We have to do that every show now. But yeah, I guess I guess after he released all these animals, he committed suicide. So these animals were just wandering around Ohio. It was the summertime, so all these animals could survive the
It's kind of
elements.
sad because in his mind he's like, "You're free."
Yeah, I'm about
And he
to
blows his brains out.
It's not Free Willy when he jumps over the barrier and it's like, now you're in the ocean with your friends.
I guess some of the animals were rescued. Jack Hanna went out and rescued some of them, but the majority of them were put down by law enforcement. And that's what he's talking about here. And he put that up in some of the top 5 worst moments of his life. He's putting the death of this giraffe and that other incident where they had to kill a bunch of animals up there with his daughter having a brain tumor.
I think it's because it's just so senseless, and there were so many other options, and the people who did it should really have known better, and they continue to defend their heinous actions. I think we should move on.
You want to move on to the next? So Jack Hanna has like...
Okay, well, let's just let him finish. There's so little left.
Okay.
You remember the top 5 things in my life at my age, and as far as the animal world is concerned, this is in the top thing. I can't even compare this to anything I've ever seen in the zoo world. In this country, at our zoo, I can tell the viewers, we don't do that, and we don't ever intend to do that. We're there to educate you and educate people about these beautiful creatures God gave us, and that's what we're there for.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I mean, and this is coming from someone who's worked in zoos for the majority of his life, so he knows what he's talking about.
And the Columbus Zoo is a pretty decent zoo.
And the Columbus Zoo was a shithole until he came and took over. So yeah,
I never saw it beforehand, but
yeah,
I've been to it since he's been in charge, and I would say it's a pretty damn good zoo.
It's a pretty nice zoo, yeah.
Yeah. So I had even heard stories in the past about when he had first become a big shot there, he would walk around himself and pick up the trash just in case anyone else did it. So he was really big on changing the image of that zoo and making it something that everyone could enjoy.
And now it's Bill Maher versus Double D Cupp.
Double D Cupp, SE Cupp. Last time we did a video featuring SE Cupp, we got a pretty positive response.
Yeah,
I think it was TJ clicking the video over and over again, hoping he would see.
Oh, SE Cupp.
Oh, she
if you keep watching, eventually she's naked.
Yeah, and actually the picture of SE Cupp right now, if everyone hits like and subscribe, eventually the clothes will just melt off.
Yes,
we promise.
The clothes will melt off, and her gigantic tits will be exposed.
So here's
but Bill Maher will stay clothed.
What was the argument?
Bill Maher will stay clothed.
Okay, good.
He'll actually end up wearing a burqa.
He'll be wearing a burqa.
Yeah.
Yes.
So TJ, you told me about this story. What is the argument that SE Cupp is about to make here?
I don't remember what she said in this specific clip, but it's SE Cupp, so you know it's dumb.
Yeah.
Let's just take a listen.
Kitchen on that line. All right, let me ask about this other issue that was in the news this week, which I think is a good thing, the decoupling of Obamacare or health care from employment, but it was reported in the press differently. Now, what happened was the CBO, that's the Congressional Budget Office, they are the arbiters, they are the umpires, we say they are impartial. I've quoted them many times and say, look, they're the impartial ones. Okay, what they said was that Obamacare, over 10 years, will reduce employment by 2 million people. Okay, somehow in the media that got to be Obamacare will kill jobs.
Right.
But I don't think that's what's happening. What it means is that because people now, of course, can decouple, and we should, by the way, we should never have coupled employment with health care in the first place. We did that during World War II.
That's one thing I have to agree with. I mean, there are people who will stay in jobs that they hate just to keep their health insurance, because when you lose your job, you lose your health insurance. And
I think that pretty much if you are an American who is not part of the 1% or even if you're part of the 1% and you hang out with people who are not, you probably know someone who keeps a shitty job just for the health benefits.
Yeah, absolutely, because health insurance to buy outside of your employer is multiple times more expensive. And I thought that should have been a provision in the Affordable Care Act, was if you have insurance and you lose your job, the insurance company that you've been with, as long as you've been with them for at least a year or something like that,
well,
they should have to keep you.
Knowing how compromised Obamacare became from its original intent. That might have even been in an earlier
what
draft.
They have, the only thing they really have currently, before Obamacare, they had COBRA, which you could pay your own premiums. But I mean, it's kind of ridiculous that we even have the system we have. We spend the most per capita of any country in the world, and we don't have the best results. I mean, we should have had a universal health care system. But the Affordable Care Act is pretty much a joke. And I mean, it's not to say that other countries don't have a similar, private insurance thing. It's just that there's a lot more people actually use it.
This same idea was championed by the Heritage Foundation originally. So when conservatives talk shit about it,
it was actually not even just championed by the Heritage Foundation, but created by the Heritage Foundation as a response to Hillary Clinton's calls in the early '90s for a universal health care system. This is a Republican system, and
Romney.
Obamacare. Really, or the Affordable Care Act, either one if you want to call it, really it made a lot more sense when it included a public option. And if you listen to the early interviews with Obama, he swears up and down, we are not going to back down on the public option. We are not going to back down on the public option. And of course, they ended up backing down on the public option. And then, to add insult to injury, he says, I never said we were never going to back down on the public option.
We were never stay the course.
Yeah, like
there's no
we went from Mr. Stay the Course to Mr. Never Stay the Course.
There's no cost control in the system. It's just basically the same system, except more people are going to be insured, which means more people are going to be using the services, and more than likely the cost will probably just go up. It's not going to really solve the problem.
Yeah. So here's a little more, and I think coming up here is S.E. Cupp's unbelievably stupid remarks,
which I don't even know what she's going to say yet.
Might as well be.
I did watch this episode, but I think I might have missed this part, or maybe this was on overtime.
I think you just basically burned it out of your mind. It was so stupid.
Because they froze salaries, so this was a way of giving a worker a benefit. Okay. Now, because they passed that thing, which Republicans agree with too, that we should not, if you have a pre-existing condition, you have to cover that. So now people don't have to stay in their job to get covered. So these are people choosing to leave the workforce because they finally can. Isn't that a good thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it creates opportunity. It basically is a game of musical chairs where we have the same number of chairs, but we have less people competing to sit in those chairs. So it creates opportunity. Also, as you said, frees people up. So that means you want to go hang out with your grandkids, you can do that. You want to go start a business, you can do that because you're no longer dependent on your job for your health care.
Yeah, disincentives to work are not always bad things. Well, Americans work too much. Americans are overworked, overstressed. They take less vacation time. They don't retire when they want to. Not everything is GDP.
No. Disincentivizing work up until 2 days ago
before she starts talking, I just want to say that I forgot what I was going to say, actually. So let's go. Let her talk.
You are an idiot.
Oh, no. I just wanted to say that the other shoe is about to drop, and she's about to talk.
Okay.
And then she started talking before I could get that out.
All right. Here she comes.
No. Disincentivizing work up until 2 days ago was agreed by Democrats and Republicans to be not a great thing. The project of economists on the left and the right has always been to come up with welfare programs that disincentivize work the least. Why? Work is dignity. Work is social and economic empowerment.
Hey,
work is
hold on.
women's
Work is not dignity if the only reason you're doing the job is so you can afford basic health care.
These are the same
There's
people
nothing dignified about that, you mindless fucking
want no
cunt.
minimum wage, and she's probably a millionaire. So it's easy to say, oh, you're so dignified working, when you
Work is dignity!
Yeah, I wonder how much money S.E.
Yeah, if you're doing a job that you actually like, or a job that actually pays you fairly.
I'm sure she doesn't have to work to get health care. That's obvious, from the, her reach.
Yeah.
Work is opportunity. So this false argument that somehow disincentivizing 2 million people to work and leave the economy is now a good thing is bull.
Hey, I love how she just totally bypasses if Bill Maher just said disincentivizing people to work is a good thing, like if that was just the blanket statement, then her reaction might make sense. But he actually explained what he meant. And you'll notice that she does not address the substance of the argument at all.
No, she's just like, it's wrong. That's her argument.
At all.
Well, it's the usual conservative talking point. Lazy people just don't want to work, and this is another reason for people not to work and be lazy.
Yeah, and more moochers on the fucking system.
No social welfare programs because people will just be lazy fucks and leech off the government because we know being on welfare and having Social Security and these other things is horrible.
It's like living in the lap of luxury.
I can almost guarantee, just out of all the people that everyone knows with their family and all their friends, she knows someone who's benefited from social welfare at some point.
Well, of course.
Yeah, so...
Spin.
Your work is all that. When I worked at Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips, throwing fish pieces into a vat of boiling oil, it was not dignity.
Wasn't that more dignity than no work at all?
No. I love that. Wasn't that more dignity to work at all? He's just like, no.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Do you think she's ever worked at a fast food
No.
place or had a real job, though? I mean, probably not.
It's hard to know.
I think she started as a stripper, but...
She looks like it.
Not to demean strippers.
Yeah. Sorry, strippers.
Just to
apologize to strippers
I don't mean.
everywhere.
Yeah. I don't even have any disrespect for that profession. But, you know, she's a bitch. Fuck her.
No. I wish I could have gone to college without having to take that shitty job.
I wish everyone had the luxury of saying no to a shitty job, when in fact a lot of people, 5 million, have decided to stop looking.
Wait a minute! She just said she wishes they had the luxury, and yet that's exactly what she's arguing against.
Yes, exactly.
What the fuck? She's so fucking stupid. How do my fanboys want to fuck her? Like, don't stick your dick in stupid. I don't care how good it looks on the outside. The second you stick your dick in that, the stupidity is going to crawl up into you through your urethra.
Don't talk.
And you're going to become retarded.
I think it's the glasses.
They want to come on her glasses.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
If she had braces, that would like...
Well, I wish people had the luxury of turning down a shitty job, even though that's the very position I'm arguing against. Nah.
What? 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 Your circuits are crossed.
I don't think you're indignant enough, TJ.
I think.
Tell us how you really feel.
I wish her two brain cells would meet and come up with an idea.
I think they're on opposite sides of her
Yes,
brain.
they're just no, they're like bouncing around. You know, like the screensavers that bounce around the screen. There's like two of those, and you just like sometimes you think they're gonna hit, and then they just go right past each other like ships in the night.
But Social Security is a disincentive to work.
Pell Grants are a disincentive to work. I mean, you take basically any program and you say that because you're giving me another opportunity, now I don't need to fish fry.
So the fact of the matter is, over the last year, there's been $1.8 million full-time positions created and only 8,000 part-time jobs. So Obamacare is not creating minimum wage, decreasing the work week. It's not doing that. The facts just don't bear it out. And so it's this myth. It's a lot of talking points, and it's just not true.
I think we've yet to see whether that's going to bear out.
Last year,
the bulk of it remains to be seen when it's actually implemented and you get all of the folks signed up. So we don't actually know what the long-term impact
Social Security worked out.
Also, we know the Republican health care plan.
You know, we
it's still
found,
solvent for the next 30-something years.
Yeah, so... I thought TJ was getting pissed off again, but I think he's just smoking.
He was smoking. I think it's funny how they're like, Obamacare is shit. It's like, what was your guys' plan? Oh, well, our plan was get sick and die quickly.
Yeah, the Alan Grayson's brilliant summarization of the Republican health care plan. If you get rich, die quickly.
All their ideas are like hoaxes and like jokes. It's like, we want to cut funding of food stamps. Well, how does it solve America's problems? Because there'll be less people on food stamps. Woohoo!
Yeah, it's they have no ideas on how to fix things. Just all the ideas coming from the left are bad ideas.
They just want to cut entitlement programs. That's the only thing they want to do.
They have ideas about how to take things away from people. That's about it.
Yeah, their freedom, their rights, anything like that.
Yeah, it's...
Well, this clip is over.
Yes, this clip is over. I think TJ's happy about that.
Whew! I barely made it through that one.
We have more from SE Cupp coming up later in the show, though. TJ, aren't you excited?
I'm so excited.
Remember,
and I just can't hide it.
Click like and the clothes will slowly melt
I'm
off.
about to lose control and I think I like it.
One thing I want to announce is for the first time in the history of this show, we've been on for just over a month. We have a record number of live viewers. For anyone that's new, if you like what you're hearing, feel free to hit the subscribe button. If you're not already a subscriber, hit like on the video. It helps us out a lot.
And if you don't like what you're hearing, hit subscribe anyway.
Yeah, hit subscribe and like.
Just to troll us.
Yeah, to come troll us.
Oh, man, you showed us.
You really showed us, you pieces of shit. watching all of our videos religiously. You goddamn assholes. That would suck.
We do get that a lot. We get people that are like, I don't know why anyone would want to watch this left-wing propaganda.
I don't know why no one watched this fucking garbage.
It's like you just watched it and you commented on it.
Yes. What is going on here?
Okay, so apparently this is a story that actually surfaced a few months ago, but now it's coming back up because there's a wealthy
Hong Kong businessman, right?
Yeah, wealthy Hong Kong businessman who has a gay daughter. I guess she's a fashion designer or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
She basically married her partner, and he was offering a ton of money to any man that could turn her straight. In the photo, the one on the right in the dress is the daughter, and the one on the left is her partner. And I guess now this is coming back out again because...
And when Ben says partner, he means hot, kinky, lesbian sex
life
partner.
Yeah.
No. Hot, kinky, lesbian sex partner.
I guess he's putting up more money now. And at this point... And this is the difference between their culture and our culture. She wrote a politely worded letter to her father basically saying, I'm not into dudes. I'm just not into dudes. Okay?
Dear father... I have seen many penises. I did not like any of them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's really ignorant to think that she just hasn't met the right guy yet.
She should just get some random guy and be like, yeah, this guy, I'm in love with this guy.
Yeah,
he gets the money, they get a divorce, they split it.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
You know?
Yeah.
Why not? Just fucking sucker the dude.
I mean, it's not like, obviously, in the picture, she's a nice-looking lady, you know? She could find a guy if that's what she was interested in. She's not interested in that. So paying a bunch of dudes to come hit on her, that's pretty annoying. You know? That would annoy me.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that her letter was so polite. I guess that it's part of the culture.
Yeah, absolutely. You respect your parents in Chinese culture, big time.
Fucking Chinese culture and it's fucking shit.
Actually, in mainland China, I had heard a story not too long ago where the government there passed a law that children must go visit their parents.
Wow.
But that's something different. But yeah, here's a little bit on the story here. It's a short clip.
What if your parents molested you? Do you still have to go?
I don't know.
This is Chapter 2 in the ongoing efforts of a Hong Kong real estate tycoon who wants his lesbian daughter to get married to a man. Cecil Chow is doubling a standing offer and now promises to give $130 million to any man who can win over his daughter, 33-year-old Gigi Chow.
I think you need to
so
go
far,
win
his
that.
efforts are
$130 million. That's like a lottery fucking winning.
Partner.
That's
This
like the
week-
Powerball.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
The lesbian Powerball.
he must.
When some hyper aggressive dude like rapes his daughter, it's on him basically.
Yeah, and been like, we were in love.
There's probably some precondition like they have to get married or some shit.
I know, but some crazy dude is just gonna like read, it's $130 million. I'll make this bitch straight.
I don't know.
I mean, what happens when that happens? I mean, is he going to take any culpability? Will he face any charges? And I don't know what Chinese law is. I mean, this seems like she should have some sort of legal recourse against him.
I'm not even sure.
I mean, this seems like a form of harassment to like an extreme degree.
You know what? I mean, if he's a rich guy in China, I mean, he probably has a lot more pull politically than she does. So
That's probably true.
I doubt that anything would happen to him.
But China is a place where they will fucking execute CEOs for unscrupulous shit. So.
This is Hong Kong, and it is technically part of China, but it was under British rule up until the 90s.
Yeah, and it still has a lot of those.
They speak a different language than mainland China. They use a different currency, and it is a more westernized culture.
And they actually have an agreement to have democracy in Hong Kong for 50 years after. That's one of the things why the British left, even because they're like, well, this is our territory. Like, okay, well, you have to have democracy for the next 50 years. So it actually is kind of a different society. Even
Absolutely. It is different.
Yeah.
It almost seems like it should be its own country.
It is in some ways, but it is still under Chinese
It's one of the
rule.
most expensive places to live in the world as well.
Yeah. It looks amazing, though, like pictures that I've seen and everything. But going back to the story here, here's a little more. Obviously, this guy thinks that being gay is a choice. So, I mean, there's no denying that. Or maybe he's just wishful thinking. I don't know.
year-old Gigi Chow. So far, his efforts are in vain because Gigi Chow has a longtime female partner. This week, she published a letter in 2 local newspapers addressed to her father, asking him to accept her relationship. She writes, "Dear Daddy, I'm not asking you to be the best of friends. However, it would mean the world to me if you could just not be so terrified of her and treat her like a normal, dignified human being."
I would not be that polite. I would not be that polite.
That's almost heartbreakingly polite.
Yes.
Like, you know, leave this fucking girl alone, you piece of shit.
I wonder how many they I don't know if in the story they mention how many men have come at her. I mean, it wouldn't be real love anyway. It would just be a straight relationship. So he doesn't want his daughter to be in love,
well,
honestly, with the woman she's in love with now.
If he cared about love, he would have no problem with the current relationship.
Yeah, exactly. Because all these men are just interested in money at this point anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's basically turned his daughter into a fucking winning lottery ticket.
This is pretty just nonsensical. This guy should just accept it and move on with his life. There's really just no point. I mean, she's always going to be this way. He just needs to accept it. I mean, he could offer $1 billion. It's not going to change anything.
He could either accept it or just let it go. I
mean, or
just
fuck off.
Yeah, if it bothers him that much, and this would be horrible to do, but he could just stop talking to her, you know? I mean...
He could just disown her if he really just cannot live with that, and he's like, there's no way, then... He just needs not to have her in his life, I suppose.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. I don't know if this has ever happened anywhere else, but it seems pretty extreme. But it's a story that's been reported on before. Here's the rest of it.
It happened in a small town in Alabama, but they could only rustle up like $50.
I'll give you $50.
Anyone marry my daughter, I'll give him $50.
How much money you want to donate to the My Daughter's Not Gay Fund?
We got to undock Lisa.
She also says she regrets that her father has, quote, "no idea how happy I am with my life." Now, in September of 2012, Cecil Chow offered an initial award of $65 million after the media reported that his daughter and her partner had their relationship blessed in a church ceremony in Paris. At the time of the first offer, Gigi Chow reportedly got thousands of emails from suitors. It's reported that this new offer has attracted a few hundred responses so far. Pauline Chu, CNN, Hong Kong.
Well, apparently most of the men have given up at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like, 65 million gets thousands, and then by the time he ups the reward, it only gets a couple hundred. Because I think people have just realized, like, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
Like, if it didn't happen at 65 million, it ain't gonna you could raise it to $100 trillion. It's not gonna make any fucking difference.
Yeah, it's like some people try to pray the gay away. He's trying to pay the gay away.
Pay the gay away.
Well, when we put this video up, we have to call it "Pay Away the Gay."
Pay away yeah, Hong Kong dad tries to pay away the gay.
All right.
Yeah, so...
All right.
The next one is a story that I think mostly our listeners in the U.S. would understand more than anything else. We have... When you live in a city or any major cable market, you only have one cable television service to choose from. And that's usually the company that owns the cable lines in the area. Primarily in most major markets, you have 2 companies to choose from, Comcast or Time Warner. There's a few others like Cox and Cablevision, but primarily Comcast and Time Warner own most of the markets. And I know this firsthand because I've lived pretty much all over the country, and I've had Comcast and Time Warner in many different places. Well, they just broke the news this week that Comcast is actually going to acquire Time Warner, which means that Comcast will be the major company in hands down the most markets.
Yeah, they'll control 30% of the market share for all, cable and internet subscribers in the U.S.
And the thing about Comcast is not only are they the cable provider, but they're also the content creator because they also own NBC and all of NBC's sister networks.
Yeah, and Universal, yes, the studio.
Yeah, so it's definitely a monopoly at work here. So here's the story about Comcast itself and how it's going to buy Time Warner Cable.
A blockbuster media merger in the works. Comcast striking a $45 billion deal to buy Time Warner Cable. It would combine the two biggest cable companies in the United States. Chief Business Correspondent Christine Romans is here to break it down for us. So what more are we learning about this merger?
It's a very big merger, and it's so interesting here because this is a combined Comcast Time Warner that would essentially provide television channels and internet connections in roughly 1 in 3 homes in America. Now, most of those are in New York, LA, Philly, and Washington, D.C. Customers may like Comcast's next generation software.
Right there, New York and L.A., those are the 2 largest cities in the United States. So those are hands down the 2 largest markets in the country. When you just think of the population in those 2 cities alone, I mean, that's larger than many countries around the world.
That's about the same number of people roughly as like Canada.
Yeah.
In those 2 markets right there.
Yeah. So that's just insane that one company would just dominate those cities. But there's going to be so many other major cities between those 2, East and West Coast, that Comcast is going to dominate.
Yeah, for example, in Columbus we have Time Warner, and then that'll become Comcast, and they already dominate, I believe, Cincinnati and Cleveland.
Yeah, and when I lived in Albuquerque, they had Comcast there.
Yeah,
they have it up in Michigan. I mean, they have it everywhere. And these cable companies, they pay the various networks and cable channels to show their content, and then they jack up the price and make a profit off of it. Well, when you're not only the content provider but the content creator, that saves a lot of money and generates more revenue as well. So, yeah. So here's a little more on this here.
The set-top boxes, but they might not like their new cable bill. As we often see, less competition typically means higher prices. And when it comes to cable bills, already customers are paying sky-high prices. I want to show you this chart. According to market research group NPD, cable bills have been increasing at a rate of 6% each year. They're forecast to reach $200 on average a month by the year 2020. Now, pricing and competition are, of course, what regulators will be looking for when they scrutinize this deal. Charter, the other company that had been pursuing Time Warner Cable, appears to be stepping aside now that Comcast has come forward with this $45 billion deal. But certainly you may end up paying, writing a different check to a different company if you are a Time Warner Cable customer.
This is just things going from bad to worse.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's the system we have set up in this country is already terrible. These companies basically, they use regulations to prevent new competition from entering these markets. These are the most anti-competition companies in America.
Well, yeah, they own the lines, like the lines that run from the pole into your house. They own that. So that's how they set up basically this monopoly. Well, now they'll say it's not a monopoly because you can go to Dish Network or DirecTV if you want, but it's not the same thing.
Well, I mean, but it's not. Remember, these companies don't just provide cable; they also provide internet.
Yes.
And I mean, for high-speed internet, these companies really don't have any competition in their markets.
I mean, just look at the airline industry. Like, we've had more and more consolidation in that, and what's happened? Prices have gone up. I mean, every time they consolidate and there's less choices, there's less competition, there's less incentive to compete because you have less competitors. I mean, it's simple.
And when I was younger, I had learned, when we learned about the United States economy and we had learned about capitalism, we were always taught, United States is a capitalist country, but we have regulations to prevent monopolies from forming. That doesn't seem so true anymore as it used to be. We only have, for the most part, 2 major cable providers, cell phone companies, 2 major and then 2 other minor cell phone companies.
We must have duopolies. We don't really have monopolies. We don't have 1. We'll have 2 now. That's like
it's not a monopoly because there's 2 companies. You see?
You could have Coke or Pepsi. Come on.
For a monopoly, it has to be mono.
Yeah.
You see?
Mono means 1.
So as long as there's 2 companies, you're good.
So we
no, what it really is the difference between being fucked in the ass or being fucked in the ass and the mouth at the same time. Now, I mean, in this scenario, however you feel about dick in your life, in this scenario, you hate it.
TJ says the darndest things.
Yeah. I found a clip of a politician, the most unique politician.
The views of TJ do reflect the views of everyone here.
They reflect the views of TJ.
So I found.
But I am a solipsist. So.
I found a clip of Senator Al Franken of Minnesota, who, by the way, used to be one of the head writers for Saturday Night Live. He also played a few characters on Saturday Night Live back in the 90s. And he's just commenting here about the merger between Comcast and Time Warner.
Al Frankenstein.
Before we go on, I just want you to know Time Warner Cable was spun off from Time Warner, CNN's parent company, in 2009, so there is no need to divulge any sort of connection. But I just wanted to make sure people knew
It's
that.
good of you to divulge that there's no need to divulge.
So Senator Franken joins me now. So Comcast defends this merger.
Right.
They say that the two companies share no customers with the same zip code, but you argue the merger will mean that prices go up.
I think that just underscores my point.
Yeah.
Here's the biggest cable provider in the country and the second biggest cable provider in the country, and they don't compete anywhere?
Right.
I mean, there's not enough competition. We need more competition, not less.
There's something bothering me that really has nothing to do with what's going on, and it's the fact that there is some other dude standing way off in the background holding an umbrella over Al Franken's head. Hold your own fucking umbrella, you lazy sack of shit.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay, just had to say that.
Going exactly in the wrong direction, and consumers are, I am very concerned, are going to pay higher bills. They're going to get even.
They called an ambulance out so someone else could hold the umbrella over Al Franken's head because the guy who's holding it.
Well, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous too. It's like they don't when they say, "Oh, we don't compete in the same markets," because in each market they have a monopoly, so they really can't even compete. So I don't even understand why they're saying that.
I can't name one major city where there are two cable companies competing against each other. If any of our listeners out there know about it, please let us know in the comments section. But I've never heard of that.
I mean, that's really the funny thing. Like, in most areas that I can think of, I mean, pretty much, in fact, everywhere I've ever lived and have had dealings with a cable company for my internet connection or my cable connection when I used to have cable, it's always been an effective monopoly for that area. So I mean, even you could say there's all these different cable providers, but it's not like you can choose between them.
Yeah, you have like AT&T, or you have the cable company, or whatever.
You know, they actually made fun of this on South Park one time. They went to the cable company to cancel their cable, and they'd be like, and then all of a sudden the guy like tears open the breast pockets on his shirt and starts rubbing his nipples. He's like, "Ooh, you want to cancel? Oh, too bad. We're the only cable company in town. You just won't have cable anymore." Ooh, like that. So it was pretty funny, you know. So we're all aware of it. It's bullshit. But the question is, what are we going to do about it?
And you know, when South Park makes fun of it, it's got to be pretty bad because South Park is usually such a friend to big business because those guys are big-time libertarians.
Boo, Ben Knopp. Boo. Liar. Well, they did slam George Lucas, though, too.
Yes.
Worse service and less choice.
You live in Minnesota. You have Comcast?
We get Comcast.
Are you allowed to? Are you comfortable telling me how your service is?
Only if you tell me how your Comcast service was.
I had Comcast, and
did you get rid of it?
We got rid of it. We don't have Comcast anymore. I didn't find the service satisfactory.
Okay.
What about you?
No comment.
I love that. I'll tell you if you tell me. We hated it. What did you think? No comment.
At least he's living true to being a politician.
But you know, with the whole
but
the no comment thing. I mean, what he's saying is clear. I mean, it's pretty clear that he has no more love for Comcast.
No, he loves Comcast. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
He loves the higher bill.
Maybe they donated to his campaign.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Oh shit.
I think he was just being a comedian there. Though,
yeah. But I mean, his intent was clear. I mean, it wasn't like he was really evading the question. I mean, he didn't give a direct answer. But anyone listening to the tone of his voice and looking at the look on his face, which I know our viewers can't see, it's pretty clear that he detests it.
Yeah.
we had a quid pro quo here, I thought.
It's your interview. Go ahead.
So the other concern, of course, is the internet, because a lot more people are getting their entertainment from the internet, from YouTube, from Roku, from other certain Netflix. In terms of internet service, Comcast says the merger will give it 30% of the market's internet subscribers have, not the majority, just 30%. They have.
I have to wonder where Comcast stands on net neutrality. Have they made a statement on that?
I don't think they've made a statement, but I think where they stand is pretty clear.
I'm sure they support Verizon. I'm sure they support Verizon and their court case. You know, I'm almost undoubtedly.
Yeah, I would be very, very, very surprised if Comcast supported net neutrality. Because from their business standpoint, supporting net neutrality doesn't make any sense. Supporting net neutrality is what makes sense for the people of this country, but for these businesses, it benefits them tremendously if net neutrality is dead, which net neutrality pretty much is dead.
And that's why, on the if you remember, everyone came together to stop the SOPA and PIPA thing from happening, or PIPA, whatever you call it. The same thing has to happen for net neutrality.
It's a lot harder because people don't understand net neutrality that well. I made a video on my amazing. Well, it's not rocket science, but the problem is that these companies have spread so much disinformation that a lot of people have yet to cut through the bullshit. But I've made a video on my Amazing Atheist channel about net neutrality. It's one of my more recent videos.
What's that Amazing Atheist channel? I never heard of it before.
I haven't either.
This fat guy that talks about it.
He doesn't talk, he screams.
Yeah, it's this fat, rambling douchebag who just thinks he's smarter than everyone else.
He's pretty ugly, too.
Yeah, he's an ugly
I want to
fuck.
punch his face.
I'd like to fucking kick him in the balls.
If I ever met
as hard
that
as
guy,
can.
I think I would just like fucking beat the shit out of him with a baseball
I'd like to
bat.
cook them and chop them up and eat them.
Yes.
20% now.
30% is a huge part of the market.
Absolutely, but not a majority, not a monopoly, as they say.
No,
Not a
but
monopoly,
it's
just one-third.
It's too big. As I said, we need more competition. Not
It is a
And how do
monopoly.
you do that?
How
do
is
you
it not a fucking
have
monopoly?
more
It's not a monopoly.
One
if-
in three
It's not a
households.
monopoly nationwide.
Yeah, but if you live in any of the areas they service, it is an effective monopoly.
If you live in, Peoria, Illinois, why the fuck does it matter to you if there's a different cable company in Seattle, Washington?
I know, right. Exactly. It's a fucking monopoly. If there's no competition in each marketplace, it's like saying, it's like if every state only sells one brand of potato chip. Like you can buy Doritos in fucking California, but if you want some Fritos, you got to go all the way to fucking New York.
Oh, man, you want Fritos? Better drive to New York, man. Don't bring them back with you, though.
But there's no monopoly.
Yeah.
Monopoly.
What needs to be done?
Well, we look at this, we don't allow the two biggest companies to merge. That's how you have more competition.
Do you think that there are a lot of senators that feel
we need to look at it, is what I'm saying. I haven't come down one way or the other, but I express my concern to federal regulators.
You're concerned. You think that, like philosophically.
The basic,
okay, so
the basic politician, more research is needed bullshit answer.
We have to study this issue closely.
I have to see if they're willing to give me any campaign money before I decide what my position is on this issue.
What do the polls say? Do the polls? Yeah.
I'd like to hear his position on how more competition can be created, because right now they're talking. Any cable company will say that the dish providers are the competition to cable, but obviously cable's far superior. It's a hard line connection. It gives you better internet, and it gives you a more reliable service that's not affected by the weather.
And Dish relies on the internet now too, which comes from most places your cable provider. The only other competition is like your phone company, like AT&T or something.
Yeah. So I don't understand. The only way they could do it is if the government literally forced companies to let other cable companies have reign over their lines that they own, so that consumers can choose the cable provider that they want.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
They did it with phone companies. I have seen it done with phone companies. We had a choice when I lived in one town years ago. Even though Verizon owned all of the telephone lines, we were allowed to choose other companies. But,
too big, it should not be allowed to merge.
Yeah, well, there's this concentration of media. I was against Comcast merging or acquiring NBC and Universal because, look, now Comcast owns NBC and about 36 other cable stations, right? Networks. So now you have to watch the Olympics now. You have to, if you're a cable, you don't have to watch it, but if you're a cable provider, you better have it.
Right.
So if you're not Comcast, you've got to pay NBC Comcast.
That's an interesting point he brought up about the Olympics, because right now they're talking about how the NBC's coverage of the Olympics sucks so bad due to them just trying to make profits off of it, that we actually have people in America buying Canadian IP addresses just to watch the Canadian broadcasting company's coverage, because it's much better. Plus, you get everything that's broadcast on TV and more on the internet for free if you have the CBC over NBC. So, just a side note to that.
Go to Comcast and NBC
for the rights to the Olympics. And Comcast can charge whatever they want. They have to pay themselves the same thing by law, but they're taking it out of their right pocket and putting it in their left pocket. And so that's anti-competitive as far as I'm concerned.
How is it not?
Yeah.
How could you view it as anything other than anti-competitive? It's, hey, we own this show, and our competitors have to pay us to show it, and we have to pay ourselves to show it. It's, what kind of nonsense is that?
We have to get a license from ourselves. It's so difficult.
Yeah, because they own NBC. So Comcast owns NBC. They have to pay NBC, but they are NBC, so they're basically paying themselves.
That's like a company that certifies its own products.
Yeah.
This product has been certified. By who? By us.
We're going to take a short break. Later on, we have a lot of things planned. We are going to take calls from viewers towards the end of the show. Don't send your questions in yet. We will review them during the break before we take calls. We got a lot on the way. We've got Rush Limbaugh. We've got a town in Colorado that where the mayor has granted the citizens the right to shoot down government drones. We have a topless Lebanese Olympic skier. We've got everything. We got everything coming up. So don't leave.
It's like a fucking freak show.
Yeah. Well, step right up. Step right up.
We got amazing TJ.
We got a bra that unhooks itself when it knows you're in love, and that's not a joke.
That's a real thing.
Yeah, we got a story about that too. So we will be right back. This is the Drunken Peasants podcast. We'll be back in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, we've yet to mention Pan.
Stay tuned.
It's a usual,
Remember,
unusual
smoke
broadcast.
Pan. Everyone smoke Pan right now.
Here's the theme for Mega Man 3.
Rockified.
Detective John Kimball.
How are you? Yes. No. Negative. Come on. Don't bullshit me.
Make it fast. Shut up.
Fuck you, ass. Fuck you.
Oh, shit. So don't give me the crap.
Let the party people. Nice night.
Stop shouting. I'm not deaf.
This man is totally insane. Come and get me. It has to end here. In case you forget, I'll be checking back with you.
Stop being such a pussy.
I'm trying to reach you, Cupp, but get this press. Where the fuck you get off talking to people about me behind my back, going over my head?
All right, we're back here on the Drunken Peasants podcast.
You mean the John Cena podcast?
Let's go, Cena.
Cena rocks. I love John Cena. My favorite wrestler. He's the best.
GJ beats off the pictures of John Cena. He's like, I wish I could.
He,
He's manly and
he has such amazing charisma.
John,
and he's just his mechanics
and his head's
in the
like
ring.
a block. He's like it's like
unparalleled.
GJ has a blockhead fetish.
Yes, I like the fact that he's shaped like a square.
You sound insane. Do you realize that? You should be medicated.
I think that's actually accurate, TJ.
Yeah, absolutely.
You should be medicated.
The fuck you talking about, man?
Yeah, John Cena is Justin Bieber on steroids.
Justin Bieber is on steroids. Though, remember?
It does look like he is.
Steroids. Oh.
Let's go steroids.
Steroids are awesome.
Steroids. They'll turn you into John Cena.
Okay, never mind.
It's like, whoa, wait.
After Ben is rethinking his steroid position.
You could say John Cena likes anything, and I'll be like, fuck. Like, maybe that's not
John
so cool
Cena
anymore.
breathes oxygen.
Oh.
Gotta hold my breath.
Yeah. Yeah.
Breathe as little as possible.
Yeah. we talked about this on the last show. I don't want to get too much into it, but John Cena is the worst fucking wrestler ever. I know a lot of people aren't wrestling fans, but John Cena is just terrible. Like, anyone who even doesn't watch wrestling can just watch him and be like, that's not how that's supposed to look. And that's all I'm going to really say about that. The next thing we're going to cover here is Rush Limbaugh. Apparently Rush Limbaugh is losing it, even for Rush Limbaugh. He's sounding crazy. Like, Rush Limbaugh 5 years ago sounded completely sane compared to this Rush Limbaugh, from what I understand here.
I want to introduce this clip because I've actually watched part of it, and it's really not that he's insane. It really almost sounds like he's going senile because it's such an unfocused piece. It's like he keeps trying to figure out what his objection is to this potentially the first gay NFL player. The guy hasn't been drafted yet, but he's probably going to be.
He could be just really high on his like pills, though.
Yeah, Michael Sam.
Yes,
Yeah,
Michael Sam.
Oh, not Michael Sam.
And you'll see, he keeps bouncing around and he keeps tap dancing around the issue, and it seems like he really just can't figure out where to find his purchase Like, he can't get a grip on the issue. It's kind of hard to even describe until you just listen.
And he's like the omniscient, version of Rush. He's like, I predicted this.
I've been pretty sure for years that Rush Limbaugh's talking points are fed to him through his earphones, but we'll see here.
Yesterday on this program, I mentioned it but did not discuss it, and that is Michael Sam, University of Missouri, announcing that he's gay prior to entering the NFL. He wants to enter the NFL. He's.
I also want to point out that Bill Hicks did correctly identify Rush Limbaugh as a scat muncher. he eats shit, literally.
When you are shit, it's pretty easy.
It's cannibalism. It's an act of cannibalism for him to eat shit because he is shit.
Defensive end for Mizzou, number 52. He's going to enter the NFL draft.
It really, now that you fucking have put that idea in my head that someone is feeding him these lines, it explains all of very strange pauses in his speech.
Another thing to keep in mind about Rush Limbaugh is that he's deaf and he has cochlear implants. I actually heard one episode of his show one time where the battery ran out in his cochlear implants and he actually had to go off the air. The thing about Rush Limbaugh's show that's different from most talk shows, whether they're, morning radio, drive time disc jockeys, or they're conservative radio talk show hosts, is that there's always more than one person on the air. There's always the backup guy, at least. If you listen to Rush Limbaugh's show, unless it's a caller on the air or someone who's actually a guest, you don't hear anyone else on the air. And normally he talks to this guy, Mr. Snerdley, who's his producer, but you never hear Mr. Snerdley on the air.
That is very strange.
Yeah.
I am not a Rush Limbaugh listener. Ben is a Rush Limbaugh listener, not because he respects Rush's opinion or anything, but just because he views it as comedy.
Yeah. It is not real. It is as real as professional wrestling, just to say that.
And, the funny thing is that I know people, there are people in my family who view Rush Limbaugh as, like, the news.
The news.
That's kind of insulting to wrestling, though, because, that'd be like if Rush Limbaugh was like, so me and Obama at WrestleMania.
I like it better if they're at SummerSlam.
SummerSlam? Okay. But it is Obama, so that'd be like a lesser liberal. That'd be like Joe Biden at SummerSlam or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Biden at SummerSlam.
They got to save Obama for the main event with John Cena.
And Cena kicks out at, too.
Obama orders Air Force One to launch a cruise missile at John Cena, and he explodes, but he's still able to kick out.
Going into the draft as the first public professional in waiting player to come out. And the sports world and much of the pop culture world yesterday was abuzz with this. I, El Rushbo, stood back. I stayed on the bench yesterday.
He has a nickname for himself, El Rushbo.
El Rushbo. He's been using that since the Tickle Me Elmo came out.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how out of touch he is.
Tickle Me Rushbo.
I was in high school when that happened. Yeah. So he's the lovable fuzzball, El Rushbo. He says that a lot.
There's nothing lovable on Rush Limbaugh at all.
And he always, whenever he says something that he believes to be complex, he'll simplify it and then be like, "That's for those of you in Rio Linda." I don't know what he means. I don't know if Rio Linda's a town somewhere or something like that, but he uses that a lot too. I don't get that. That's probably, he's been on the air for over 30 years now, so it's
continuously.
Yes. Well, they say that he's the #1 radio show in America. I don't know if that's true. I know he's syndicated in more places than anywhere else. I would have to say more than likely Howard Stern is the #1
I think they've
show.
said that the average listener listens for about 11 minutes.
Yeah, on their drive to work, or actually with his time slot on their drive home from work. But
Rush Radio.
I had some theories about this. I wanted to see if my overriding 2 or 3 theories actually happened, and they did. For the most part. Again, I'm not touting myself here, not beating my own horn. I'm just telling you, these people in the left, the media, are so predictable. And there are some things about I don't think a lot of people may not have thought about it.
It is so frustrating how slowly he talks.
And it's funny how he says they're predictable. Well, why didn't you predict the last 2 presidential elections correctly, Rush?
Also, I like how he's like, I wanted to sit back and see if my predictions are accurate. Well, it's easy to say your predictions are accurate after things have happened. Anyone can go back and say, like, I knew that would happen.
He just writes a list of like 100 things he thinks will happen in any situation. It's like, well, I predicted it.
A lot of his predictions are almost like cold reading, too. You know, it's kind of like how the Bible says, well, people won't believe this shit. It's kind of like that.
The book says you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
See, it knew.
It knew that people wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, logical, sensible people may question this.
It knew there would be skepticism. How can you doubt it?
Keith Olbermann used to refer to Rush Limbaugh as comedian Rush Limbaugh, and that's basically what he is. I mean, not really so much that he's funny, but that he's satire in many ways. He's almost a satire of himself over the years. It's funnier to listen to these guys when there's a president that they don't like. Back when George Bush was president, it was just a nonstop dick suck fest for George Bush.
Oh, if I can reach around Bush? Oh, no? That's okay.
Yeah, suck dick and eat Oxycontin. More Oxycontin, more dick. George Bush.
Bush signed the killing.
It's not gay because his name is Bush.
Gee, Rush, you're really good at eating those Oxycontins and sucking my dick at the same time.
A couple of things is the media is going to turn this guy, whether he wants to be one or not, they're going to turn him into an activist. He is going to become, they're already calling, he's the Rosa Parks, he's the Martin Luther King, he's the Jackie Robinson. They're going to turn this guy.
Well,
no.
The Jackie Robinson example is actually pretty close.
No.
I don't know if anyone's calling him Rosa Parks. I haven't heard that.
That's pretty ridiculous.
There's a difference. I mean, he's already black, and there's already been black people.
Yeah, but I mean, if he is let's be real here. The NFL is a pretty fucking homophobic place.
Yes.
So I mean, there is. I can kind of see the Jackie Robinson thing. Rosa Parks, nonsense. It's not comparable to Rosa Parks. I don't think I've not heard anyone say that. If anyone has said that, then they are ludicrous and deserve to be called out. But I haven't heard that.
But Rush actually does sound very middle of the road, even for himself on this. Like, oh, he's just trying to make this guy an activist. He might even want to be one. I mean, you notice how he's kind of shying away from just condemning it?
I believe Rush Limbaugh is actually from Missouri, so I think that's a big part of why he's commenting on this.
Well, let's see.
Into an activist. I already saw a story praising an unnamed team for drafting him, even if he can't play, for drafting him just to make the social statement.
What do you mean, even if he can't play? I don't even understand that statement.
It's my understanding that he is definitely good enough to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's established that he can play. What is this even if he can't play shit?
Because
they would draft him for no reason.
Because of all this, I hope he wins the fucking Super Bowl his first year. Honestly.
They give him
only if he plays for the Saints.
I don't know.
I don't know if the Saints will draft him because that's the Deep South.
We watched an interview earlier when we were looking at possible videos for the show, and Drew Brees was on Huckabee. Sorry, guys, he's lost some credibility.
Oh, no. Huckabee.
I don't care what he does off the field. As long as the Saints win the Super Bowl, that's fine.
He could murder babies.
That's fine.
In Scotty's case, that is probably true.
A totally media-driven story. Totally.
Well, what kind of other fucking story is there?
They're talking about it, Rush, you idiot.
Let's go to the audio sound bites on that. We have...
a media-driven story. Well, you have to understand conservative lingo. Media means Obama controlling the media, and that's what the media
and he doesn't, and he separates himself from the media.
He still considers himself not part of the mainstream media when he's on pretty much.
Even though he boasts that he's the top-rated radio show.
Yeah, and he's on probably 2 or 3 AM stations in every major market around the country.
But he's not part of the media.
Yeah, he's not mainstream either.
something happened on CNN yesterday. This is last night. Anderson Cooper 360. Anderson Cooper not there. Fill-in host John Berman was interviewing Jonathan Vilma. He's a linebacker for the New Orleans Saints. Vilma has been very public saying, I don't think this is going to work out. I don't know about
there's
a guy in the showers here in the NFL.
They've cut Vilma, by the way. He no longer plays for the
Oh,
Saints.
yeah, Vilma was cut. Vilma's gone from the Saints, actually, so.
I don't know. Ryan Clark of the Steelers says, look, what do we say to the guy? Do you guys know what goes on in the NFL locker room? Everybody gets teased. I mean, guys with ugly wives get teased about it. The fat linemen get teased about it. I mean, we show no mercy.
A skinny lineman isn't worth his weight in shit, honestly. Like
It's like, you fucking linemen are fat. Well,
Yeah.
we're supposed to be.
Yeah, we're supposed to be hard to move around.
Yeah, we're supposed to basically be objects that are difficult to. We're forming a human wall.
Yeah, and I mean
and the objective is to stop other people from getting through.
they have muscle, but they also have a high body fat percentage to add the weight.
Because it's a fuck of a lot easier to build fat than muscle.
Yeah. So they work out too to stay strong, so people can't push them around, but they also have the fat, And these are the people on the front line, getting pushed around by other guys that are their same.
I want to
size.
see where he's going with this insults in the locker room. Because I mean, I don't. If this guy.
This sounds like high school bullshit
Look,
to me.
this guy came out to his teammates before the last season, so I mean, I'm sure he's been called a fag in the locker room, and it's probably not a big deal to him.
Apparently, he's earned the respect and admiration of his team because no one leaked it before now.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe friendly jokes. I mean, Scotty and TJ, I hear it all the time. We'll be sitting down eating food, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Scotty will be like, "TJ, you're a piece of shit."
Well, he is a piece of shit.
But they still get along. So maybe some friendly ribbing is going on, but no one hated him to be like, this guy's a fag. You know what I mean?
And even if they did, they were able to look past it to get their job done on the fucking field.
Yeah.
If a guy's dating an ugly woman, we laugh at him. We laugh at her. We make a point of it. He's quoted as saying all this. He says, we don't know. Somebody better tell us what we can and can't say. The gay guy shows up in the locker room. We're going to need some guidelines on this. And that's where the media is going to come in, be policing all this stuff. So, because Vilma has been somewhat outspoken, CNN
how is
bereft.
the media is not going to be policing it? The media doesn't even fucking know what's going on in the fucking locker room.
The media is a liberal organization that promotes a liberal agenda, and they know everything, according to Rush Limbaugh.
They pull all the strings everywhere at all times.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's almost Alex Jones to that degree when it comes to the media.
The media tracking him down. And they had this the substitute host for Anderson Cooper, John Berman, interviewing Vilma last night. We've got 3 sound bites. And here's Berman's first question. You talked about the showers, Jonathan. And this is a subject that does come up quite a bit. The showers.
The showers.
Oh, you said...
Okay, wait.
This is a subject I ask you a lot about, by the way. The showers.
And we need to have a lot of discussion about the showers.
Tell me more about the showers.
Okay, but let's just point out that there have certainly been gay NFL players,
Of course.
before. I mean,
It's not openly.
Yeah,
They've come out after retirement.
sure, but they were presumably in the showers without incident. So I don't understand this showers
I mean,
argument.
it's ridiculous. It's like if you're a homosexual, you're going to look at another guy in the shower and be like, oh, yeah, I want him now.
There's no regulation in the NFL that says you must shower with your teammates after the game. If you're that uncomfortable, you could go somewhere else and shower if you needed to. Back to your hotel room. I mean, these players are on the road. They don't sleep, in a homeless shelter or anything like that. So it's...
Yes, they do.
It's bullshit.
If I'm naked in the shower, what if he looks at me? How am I supposed to react?
No, I just got an image of Rush Limbaugh saying, "I'm naked in the shower." Wrong image. Sorry.
Ben's like, oh.
No one's looking. No one's looking.
Jonathan, what's your concern there? I mean, you say you're in the shower, you're naked in the shower, and a gay guy comes in and looks at you.
He's like, Jonathan, say this a little slower and repeat it to me. You're naked in the shower, right?
Naked.
Like
naked as the day you were born.
He just keeps hammering on about the shower.
Yeah,
he's obsessed.
He's very interested.
He's
in
obsessed with this shower.
And you want to know how you're supposed to react. What's your concern there, Jonathan? I mean, what's the big deal?
No, there is no concern. The point I was trying to make, or the context I was trying to take it in, is that I've never been put in that situation. No player in the NFL has been put in that situation. So it's not as simple as anyone saying, well, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with it. You have other players that may. You have other players that may not.
Everybody's walking a tightrope here, and there are going to be people fall off.
It didn't sound like he was walking a tightrope. It sounded like he was just talking.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he's just like, well, I mean, you know, we'll got to see what happens.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, he's like, I don't have a problem with it. Maybe some other people
you
do.
allow one gay in the NFL, they'll all be gay.
Sounds like a pretty moderate comment.
I mean, you know, I wonder when a conservative is going to come forth and say that this is when they started wearing the pink ribbons for the breast cancer. That, you know, started corrupting our players and turning them into queers.
Gay in the NFL. It's the day the strength of men has failed.
The queers.
Remember that? What was that one guy, the Kent State guy you were telling us about earlier, TJ?
Yeah, there was a wrestler at Kent State that was actually recently suspended for some anti-gay tweets related to this case. And I thought it was funny because wrestling is literally the gayest sport. I mean, the origin of wrestling is literally naked Greek dudes all oiled up trying to pin each other to the ground. I mean, it does not get gayer, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and we're not talking about pro wrestling.
We're not talking about the John Cena wrestling now. We're talking about, like, you know, real wrestling. Or Olympic wrestling. Greco-Roman wrestling.
Yeah.
Right. But, you know, back in the day, it was done butt-ass naked, and, you know, come on. Two naked, oiled-up dudes.
What was the guy tweeting to people? He was, like, calling them all queers?
Yeah, and when people were criticizing him, he was calling them fags and queers and saying, like, you know, oh, of course I pissed off you faggot gay boys. Like, literally, like a 10-year-old.
Yeah, I wish we had a clip of that.
Unfortunately, there's no clip, but it was all on Twitter, and he deleted the tweets probably at the behest of the college, but he was still suspended.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to maintain a very... you have to maintain a media-friendly profile when you're a college athlete, more so than the NFL.
For this thing, and the media is going to be waiting for that. The media is going to just be waiting to pounce on the first or any instance they perceive to be, because remember who they are and who they champion. This guy is going to go into the NFL as a victim. He's going to go in as a victim. He's going to go in victimized. He's going to go in put upon. He's going to go in as a minority. He's going to go in as a crusader. He's going to go in as an activist. He's going to go in as somebody leading a cultural upheaval in America. There's going to be all this pressure on the guy.
I would just like to point out that we're 5 minutes into this tirade.
It's 12 minutes long.
Yes, and there has literally not been a single point thus far. He's just rambling.
Rush Limbaugh is the master of speculation. This was going to happen.
He's not even really talking. He's spouting words out of his mouth, but you're not, like, it never, in this entire thing, it never coheres into anything that makes any sort of sense. You walk away from this still not knowing, like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, he talks about it, he talks at it, but he never seems to actually address anything.
Yeah.
Let's proceed, I guess.
Now, he may want it since he came out. Who knows? Berman again. Still interested in the shower situation, apparently.
You've showered every day after practice. You've showered with literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of men. You really think none of them have been gay?
And, you know, that's the funny thing about it. I looked back at my transcript when I was interviewed by Andrea Kramer, and she said that. She said, you really don't think anyone's gay? And I said, of course. Odds are that you have 2%, 5% of the locker room is gay. And she said, well, do you think they're looking at you? I was like, I'm not that good looking, so I don't think they're looking at me.
And that wasn't enough for John Berman. He just couldn't let go of the shower circumstance.
It seems like you can't let go of it either, Rush.
Yeah.
I don't.
Rush wishes you were in the shower with him.
The pot calling the kettle fucking black there. Yeah, man.
By the way, the people in the comments, if you're just going to keep posting penis, 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 I will seriously ban you.
Yes. Penis, penis, penis.
No spamming. No spamming.
Penis. Penis.
Yeah, fuck you all.
Showering is sexual now.
Yeah.
Hours, though, about being looked at? I mean, you say, as far as you know...
No, no. That was just a very poor example. And again, that was a poor example on my part, which is why I'm glad that I'm able to actually clarify that. That's just a poor example. As I also told Andrew Kramer in that interview, as long as he can play football, I am A-okay with it.
And as Jonathan Vilma, witnessing there, you see, got his mind right during the interview. Okay, he said John Berman there at CNN, he just could not let go of the shower questions for Jonathan Vilma. Now, it's possible the questions were written for Anderson Cooper, and Anderson Cooper wasn't there, and so Berman got the questions anyway. But nevertheless...
So is he saying that Anderson Cooper was just really obsessed with the guys in the shower because he's gay?
Yeah.
Is that the subtext there, or what?
Anderson Cooper's a homosexual.
No, I'm sure Anderson Cooper, it would have made sense if he kept asking about the shower. Because, you know, he's a faggot, but, you know.
The Ben Hammer. I like that.
You have been Ben hammered.
Vagina, vagina, vagina.
Yeah, I think just to be fair around the board, I would block that person too.
Vagina, vagina, vagina.
I don't know if we can get through all 12 minutes of this Rush Limbaugh shit.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think it's just we've already proven that this is just gibberish. Just blah, blah, blah. Why don't we skip a little bit ahead and see what he's saying towards the end, and let's see like if this coheres in any sort of conclusion.
All right.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Here we go.
The answer is key and fundamental to understanding. Okay. You folks, you would not believe. This is why, you ask me all the time, how come we can't hear these people talking to you? Because of what's happening right now. I got more people shouting because the media wants a gay football player to succeed. Okay, that's why is a gay man playing football heroic? Because the media wants a gay player to succeed. Okay, you're halfway there. Why does the media want a gay player to succeed? You don't mean it that way. Don't bring in faces here.
What the fuck is even happening?
Keep this above board here. Family
Is
show,
looking at
children's
naked
books,
people,
and all
like
that we
naked men
do
in the
here.
shower. What's going on here?
All right, now, okay, I'm just posing the questions, and it's all part of my effort to inform, entertain, and educate. And it's one of these things, if you come up with the answer to this on your own, all the better. You'll remember it, rather than if I just tell you.
I think I speak for everyone in existence when I say, what?
It's a vast media conspiracy to make people accept gay people.
The minute you have a gay football player, which
The media wants a gay player to succeed. This is a conspiracy against Jesus.
Now let's talk about them in the shower some more.
A little bit more, slow.
Just a little bit more in the shower. Anderson Cooper just wants
When
to talk
he's
about
there
showers.
in the shower,
What is he doing?
and he is
Could you describe in great detail what they're
scrubbing
doing?
his perfect body,
You know, this is...
and soap suds are gathering in his ass crack.
He's just inches away from the next naked male football player, but not one of the fat ones, one of the muscly.
One of the muscly.
And he's looking at him, and his skin is glistening. Oh, yeah.
What's gonna happen then? Tell me.
Tell me slow.
Please tell me.
Tell me what's gonna happen.
You know, I thought, even though it happened a long time ago, maybe there's a lot of people out there that have never heard Boo Ben Canop before. I thought maybe we could just listen to it and kind of comment on it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
So back in 2010, there was a guy in Northwest Ohio running for mayor. His name was Ben Cupp. He decided to have a political rally in the neighborhood that his mother grew up in, and it was basically in the front yard of the house that his mother grew up in. Well, one thing he didn't plan on was the next door neighbor not really going along with this and sitting on his porch and trolling him throughout his whole speech. And it's pretty funny because he managed to break up the whole rally. Now, maybe there was like 20 people there, just by himself, just by passively sitting on his porch. And here's a clip of that.
Well, we're here today in Parkwood Avenue for the street that my mother actually grew up on, down the street.
So already you can hear the guy sitting on his porch mainly just saying, "Boo, Ben Cupp! Boo, boo, Ben Cupp!" And you can already see Ben Cupp is getting very annoyed by this.
Hey, make sure you guys get that camera right there.
Yeah. Are you done? No, I'm gonna keep going. Okay, all right.
No, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. Are you done? No, I'm going to keep going.
Boo! We have a situation in Toledo where there's faulty fire lines and
Somewhere else, run for mayor somewhere else.
I like that, run from her somewhere else.
Boo. Liar. Liar. Ben Cupp, liar. Boo, Ben Cupp.
I've been willing to bet this guy knows nothing about Ben Cupp either. He's just saying whatever he can to piss him off.
Yeah. I don't know. Actually, I know someone. Actually, a friend of mine is married to that guy right now.
Does he scream boo in bed? That's the question.
I don't know.
Boo!
I don't know.
Boo! Bad sex. Boo!
They actually ended up doing a parody of this on South Park in this last season of South Park, but we can't play that because of copyright reasons.
Fucking copyright and it's shit.
Yeah. But here's a little more.
Boo! Copyright. Boo!
Boo! Copyright. Run for mayor somewhere else.
Can I talk now, or do you want to talk? Well, why don't you let me talk, and then you can talk. That's fair. That's fair. Okay. Well, we're here again today.
I don't understand why he just doesn't talk. It's like this guy's not going to stop.
Yeah. Like, Arnold Schwarzenegger, say what you want about him, but there was like, Arnold Schwarzenegger had an egg thrown at him, and it splattered all over him, and he literally just continued smiling and laughing, and when they asked about it afterwards, like, well, that is what's great about America. You have freedoms. You can throw eggs at the politicians, and this is good. I wish he would have given me some bacon as well. And this guy is just like totally letting one fucking guy derail his speech.
Yeah, one heckler.
Raise your fucking volume and fucking power through it, you stupid fuck. That would really show that you have what it takes to make it. Like, what are you going to do with if you were actually elected mayor? Are you going to just totally crumble in the face of opposition? I mean, you can't even handle one guy on his porch saying boo, boo, boo. Also, I was wondering if maybe when your friend who's married to this guy takes off her bra, he's like, boobs, boobs,
Boobs. Liar.
Liar, boobs, liar, boobs.
All right.
All right.
Boo, Ben Cupp, liar, boo.
Well, why don't you come on down and tell all the TV cameras what your problem is? That way we
Yeah,
can
let's get it out of the way, and then I can say my piece, and you can say your piece, and we'll go from there. We'll be civilized about it. No, you're not coming down here. Okay, well then let me speak my piece, and maybe they'll come interview you afterwards, and you can present your argument. Okay, that's fair. All right.
That's fair. That's fair.
Take 4. Faulty. Okay, we're here on Parkwood for a very serious issue. Regardless. We'll stay here all day. I mean,
That's the big
I like
comment.
that. We'll stay here all
We'll
day.
stay here all day.
And it's funny because in about 3 minutes he's gonna leave.
Yeah.
We're just going to go somewhere else and do it.
Let's just go somewhere else.
God, this guy's an asshole.
We'll stay here all day.
And he keeps trying to be like, that's fair. They may talk to you. That's fair. It's like he's just trying to fuck you. He doesn't care about
Yeah.
He doesn't care how fair it is. He doesn't want to be interviewed. He's just trying to fuck up your speech. Doesn't this guy realize this? I mean, apparently he did not.
No, he was not. Obviously, he wasn't ready to be mayor of a major city.
I'm sure he did not win election.
No, he didn't even make it past the primary, and this derailed his campaign, which is the hilarious part.
It's fine. Do you want to go talk to him, maybe? Maybe they'll listen.
Right now, he's telling a little kid to go talk to him.
All right.
Send a child to fight your battles.
His army of ninja monkeys will kill him.
Because this is an important issue, I want to be able to actually communicate it to people.
Don't let it frustrate you.
Trolling level.
Well, I want the media to be able to hear it because we're talking about an important issue that could affect the lives and safety of many.
The kid is actually doing a better job than him.
Yeah.
Good advice.
It's like, be quiet.
Do you want to just move? I mean,
He just
We'll stay here all day. We'll stay here all day. You want to just move?
Yeah,
You want to just move?
and that's the end of it right there. And then they did a thing this season on South Park where Wendy Testaberger was up in front of the class and she was trying to give a presentation, and Cartman kept going, "Boo, Wendy Testaberger, boo,
boo, boo, Wendy Testaberger, boo."
Yeah, and then at the end he said, "Boo, Ben, boo." So that's like, at first I was like, this is not happening. There's no way. There's no way that this is Boo Ben cannot. But then they had him say, "Boo Ben, boo." So I was like, wow.
So Matt Stone and Trey Parker, for some reason, were aware of this situation in this local election and decided to borrow from it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
And this guy is about to shoot the sun.
Yeah, well, actually, he's looking for drones, and that brings us on to our next story here. There is a city in Colorado where the mayor, he's so opposed to the usage of the U.S. government using drones that he is licensing the citizens of his city to shoot down any drones that they see in the sky.
America, fuck yeah.
Yeah, so here we go. Here's a snippet from that.
Deer Trail, Colorado. Population 598. A small town with big American pride, claiming to be home of the world's first rodeo.
Lots of guns.
David and Goliath.
Deer Trail resident Philip Steele is ready to fight for Old West values that he believes are threatened by drones.
So if you see one overhead, what are you proposing to do?
I am proposing to shoot it down.
Steele says it was the National Defense Authorization Act that got him fired up. He read about the government's plan to add 6 bases for drone testing and invest $23 billion into new unmanned aerial vehicles. The FAA says thousands of drones could be flying over our heads by 2020.
The idea of eyes in the sky, Steele says, is just not the American way.
His message to the government, not in my backyard. So Steele drafted a drone hunting ordinance. A yes vote would give licensed residents in this 1 square mile town the go-ahead to shoot down a drone that comes within 1,000 feet of their homes.
But you don't want people to take this seriously.
Well, of course I want them to take it seriously.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a rhetorical question there.
This is a total publicity stunt. I mean, even if he really believes this, it's obvious. I mean, a town of 598 people. How many drones are really going to be flying over that town?
Yeah, I think pretty soon, at least, if there are drones flying over that town, which there are a lot of drones in the Southwest for testing. There's a lot of Air Force bases out there. And then even the state, Colorado obviously isn't a border state, but in New Mexico, Arizona, those kind of states that fly near the border, there are a lot of drones down there. If you shoot down a federal drone, more than likely you're going to be prosecuted for it.
I'm not like the biggest fan of drones, and I could see why someone would have serious objections to their use, at least in certain situations. But trying to say we're just going to shoot this down, that's pretty counterproductive.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not doing anything good for your cause. All that really does is make you look like a fucking lunatic.
Steele insists he's thought of everything. The ordinance specifies the kinds of weapons and ammunition you can use, and even puts a bounty on recovered drone parts. $25 for the fuselage or wing, $100 for a whole drone that has U.S. government markings.
That's a federal offense to destroy government property on top of that, and it's a ridiculous thing and embarrassing the town.
Despite opposition, Steele's idea has found support.
I would shoot a drone down if it's peering in my window, scanning me, and it's within elevation where I can nail it.
Former Deer Trail Mayor Robert Copley is one of some 400 people who've already purchased Steele's novelty drone hunting licenses just to make a statement.
People are buying them because they believe in the cause and they want to display.
And it sounds like a
these.
giant
Also,
scam.
they're very beautiful.
Buy your novelty license.
They're printed on vellum, stamped with the logo that says, "Kill them all, death from below."
It says license may not be recognized.
I'm actually
by
now selling a
tyrannical
don't hunt
municipal,
drones
state, or
license.
federal government.
Anyone can buy one
The
for $1,000.
FAA is keeping an eye on deer.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like a scam to make a little money, the drone hunting license. And also, I mean, like, how accurate of a shot would you have to be to actually shoot down a fucking government drone with, you know, a rifle?
I mean, I don't know at what elevation they'd be flying, but you'd have to be a pretty good shot. That, I mean, that goes without saying. I mean, even so, that's not going to stop the drones from flying around. It's not going to change anything. Shooting down one drone is not going to be like, oh man, they shot down some drones in this small Colorado town. Well, I guess we can't just have any more drones. Let's
Yeah, like the
ground them all.
government just be like, oh well, I guess that we can't do this then. You know, all that's going to happen is that the law is going to bitch slap the fuck out of whoever is stupid enough to actually do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some sort of government retaliation. I mean, the drones are not cheap. So when you fuck with the government's money, that's when they really come to get you.
Trail's special election and issued a statement that warns shooting an unmanned aircraft could result in criminal or civil liability, just as would firing at a manned airplane. All of this setting up a possible legal duel between the local and federal governments.
There are many things that are illegal. The U.S. federal government declared war on us. This is our response.
Steele insists he won't be deterred.
Da-da-da-da-da. This motherfucker is crazy.
I almost want to hear. I want to hear the X-Files music at that point. U.S. government declared war
They
on
declared
us.
war on me. I'm gonna blow them away. They come for my gun. They're gonna get the bullets.
From shooting at a drone, but hopes the ordinance would deter drones from passing through Deer Trail.
I don't think so.
It's okay. The NSA can already
Deer
spy on
Trail,
you through your phone
Colorado.
and computer, dude. So I don't know why you're wasting your time.
You think this dude actually has a phone and computer?
It showed him he had a phone and computer. I think he had a Mac actually.
He's probably got it like triple.
Dude, he has a
encrypted or
Mac,
something.
so he has a fancy computer. He's special.
He's a special guy.
He's a special guy.
I don't know how is it a declaration of war to simply have an unmanned aircraft fly over you and do basic, like, it can't see. I mean, if they're being equipped with like the ability to like look into your house, okay, I can see. All right, well, that's maybe a violation of civil liberties, but I don't believe that these are being equipped with that technology at this point. And even if they were, shooting them down is not the fucking answer. It's not going to change anything. No, the government is not going to be like, oh, well, this small town might fucking shoot him down, so I guess we can't fly any drones over him. If anything, someone at the government, they're probably going to start flying more drones over this town, hoping that someone shoots them down just so they can bring the hammer down on them.
Yeah. You might as well be blowing people's cell phones out of their hands, too. Because, you know, if they got Angry Birds on their cell phone, then...
The NSA can hear them. This dude probably plays Angry Birds. I think this
game
guy
is so much
actually
fun.
is an Angry Bird.
He is. Look at him.
Fucking bastard.
Next story we have is about a Lebanese skier who posed topless in a calendar over a year ago, I believe it was.
This is my favorite story.
And this is one of the pictures. This was one of the more... one of the less revealing pictures.
This is the PG-13 picture.
Yeah, that we could show here.
There are less PG-13 pictures.
Yeah.
Do not seek them out.
But of course, being from Lebanon, Muslim country, apparently they're very angry with her about this, and there's a lot of people that that demanded her apology, but then there are a lot of people that have come to her support too. So
Lebanon is already kind of touchy about this sort of thing because they're tired of Lebanese being confused for lesbian. So it's already a bit touchy.
One of only 2 Lebanese Olympians competing in Sochi, Jackie Shamroun should be having the time of her life. Instead, the 22-year-old skier's been made to defend old choices. Semi-nude photos taken for a calendar 3 years ago. Scandal broke out in Lebanon once a behind-the-scenes video made its way onto the internet.
And that's when things got even stranger. The Lebanese sports minister called for an investigation into the incident, claiming he was trying to preserve Lebanon's reputation at the Olympics. But that didn't sit well with many here. They called it positively unsportsmanlike.
Shamroun posted an apology on Facebook. I know that Lebanon is a conservative country and this is not the image that reflects our culture, she wrote. All I can ask to each of you who saw this is to stop spreading it. It will really help me focus on what is really important now, my training and race. Supporters rallied to Shamroun's defense.
Personally, I think this is a perfect image of Lebanon. It's the Lebanon which we're used to, the liberal Lebanon, the open-minded one, where people are comfortable with their skin.
Even more voices took to social media. Pages were created and hashtags started trending. Many going online to take off clothes, stripping in solidarity.
The point isn't to be topless. It isn't to show skin or anything else. It's more to spread the word that it's okay to be ourselves. It's okay to show a bit of skin. It's okay to. It doesn't affect our morals.
I mean, we can laugh at Lebanon and say this is ridiculous, but I mean, if our country had an Olympian who had been topless or, posed naked, I mean, it probably would be a big deal, at least to the conservative side of our country. And, 50 years ago, it would have been just as big a deal here as it apparently is there.
Well, we do have an Olympic skier. Her name is Lindsey Vonn. She won the gold medal at the last Winter Olympics. She was injured and didn't compete in this year's Olympics, but she had posed in very risque photos in the past, and actually now she's dating Tiger Woods, which is kind of an interesting side note. I don't think we react the same way as Lebanon would to something like
not now. But I mean, remember we once put Larry Flint in prison for publishing filth.
Yeah.
And this is a man who's still alive. This is not something that we've put far behind us. So I mean, I don't think we can be too judgmental towards Lebanon, but of course this is ridiculous.
Well, I mean, mentioning Larry Flint, he was also he was shot and paralyzed.
He was also shot. But I mean that was the act of someone who was probably a crazy nut, whereas his imprisonment was actually something that was done through the legal system.
Yeah, but what forces were really pushing this? I mean, it's pretty much always been, for the most part, conservative people who are very prudish, who are just always want to say, okay, we have this puritanical view on life. This is bad. This sexuality is bad. All these things are bad. They just don't have any place in society.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the same thing these people in Lebanon. Oh, we're so embarrassed. Who really cares what she did? I mean, she did that 3 years ago. It's not an issue. It has nothing to do with the Olympics. It's not even a story.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that let's not hold ourselves too high and mighty above Lebanon, because it wasn't that long ago that we were just as prudish and just as conservative.
But I mean,
a culture.
how are you going to make social progress and say, oh, it's not so much to say we're better than them. It's just say that even though, if it was 20 years ago, we've still progressed beyond that. So we need to say, we think this is a better standard to live by. So I mean, it's not about holding ourselves high and mighty above these, people in Lebanon. It's just acknowledging that we know.
I'm really just caution. I'm not saying that we're doing that. I'm just cautioning people out there against doing that. But I mean, it does seem like there is a movement within her own culture to say that this is no big deal.
Yeah. There's a bunch of Lebanese students that are posing, not totally naked, but
topless.
It looks like the men are just kind of holding this round object in front of their penises, so almost totally nude for the most part. The women are wearing pants, but I think that I don't know. It's funny because almost the opposite would be more acceptable in our
Boo! Boo pants! Boo!
I Am Not a Naked Facebook campaign set up this photo shoot.
She's doing her best as a Lebanese athlete representing her country, and I don't know, I think I'm doing my part by showing my support by doing this.
For organizers, that was and wasn't the point.
We got naked to get your attention, and once we did get your attention, we're telling you that we shouldn't have in the first place. Us getting naked should not grab this much attention. It's something very silly in light of what's going on around us.
I like the
suicide.
fact. I really like these people who gathered together and did this, and the message that guy just delivered of like, we got your attention, and our point is that we shouldn't get your attention just for doing this because this is not a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I've rarely seen protests in America that are as effectual or that have such a clear message. You know, I mean, I think that things get so complicated here in terms of everyone tries to inject their own little, their own like weird little micro quirks into whatever agenda is going on, like the big conservative criticism of Occupy Wall Street is that it's so unfocused, and then in a way that was actually true because you had so many different people with so many divergent talking points. I mean, if you were really looking into it, you could see the overarching message, but it was so drowned out by the fact that so many people were approaching it with so many different ways. And I like the fact that these people were just able to put out something that was so clear in its message and so articulate.
Yeah.
Hey, look at TJ Fucks Things' new page.
I know.
This is not the TJ Fucks Things page you were looking for. Since Scotty the fascist banned me from the live chat, I had to open this one to comment. Go to TJ Fucks Things at the featured section to go to the actual channel. And I can't read the rest because there's some other
TJ
stuff.
Fox Things, you'll be hearing from my lawyer shortly for calling me a fascist.
You want to just ban this one?
I'm a totalitarian. You know, get it
Are
right.
we bringing down the Ben hammer?
Get it right, TJ Fox Things.
That's on the top. We bring Ben. This time, TJ Fucks Things, you can thank Ben for banning you this time. It actually wasn't Scotty.
Yeah, and I resent his calling me a fascist. Like I said,
You're a communist, if anything.
Yeah, I feel like more like a totalitarian or communist would be a better description, even though they're not the same thing.
Anyway, goodbye, TJ Fucks Things. Back to the story.
Bombing, sectarian tensions, and a broken government. Major problems that make racy photos seem relatively minor. For now, many Lebanese just want a distraction they can be proud of, like witnessing the athletic feats of a fellow countrywoman. Mohammed Jamjoom, CNN, Beirut.
And I think that the violence and the people behind the violence can actually be tied to the prudish reaction to what's going on here. I mean, you can't separate, hey, there's some crazy radical Islamists here in this country causing all kinds of shit, and then say, oh, well, haven't we banned that guy like 50 times now? Yeah. But, yeah.
And it's such a strange argument. It's like, well, these people are acting too liberal. They just need to act how we want them to act. It's like, well, doesn't that kind of just shit on the freedom for everyone? It's like, you can only act how these conservative radicals want you to act. I mean, it's just nonsensical.
I don't know that that Lebanon has the same approach towards freedom or attitudes towards it that
I'm sure they don't.
That some in America have. I wish I could say that all of America was freedom oriented, but of course that would be
that's not true.
Incorrect, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So what else we got?
Next story we have is about a bra that will only
another
unhook.
boob story.
Yeah.
The theme of tonight's show is boobs.
Brought to you by Boob.
We have a bra that will only unhook if the person wearing it is in love. It's an interesting story. It's out of Japan.
Of course. You don't even need to be told that.
Yeah, so here it is.
I think walking around with a high-tech bra that unhooks when you're in love is almost like walking around with a loaded gun. A Japanese lingerie company has come up with the idea for the True Love bra. The technical algorithm, I guess, behind this high-tech bra is that your body, when you're in love, produces hormones that speed up your heart. So they're saying this bra gets to know you long enough. It can tell when you're in love. I mean, you do the math there. Let's hope you don't fall in love on the street. You could be a college student in class and a cute guy walks in. Well, what if you're going to meet your boyfriend's parents for the first time and you have this outpouring of love for your boyfriend and the next thing you know, you're basically braless in front of his parents? This is absurd, but the idea behind this isn't absurd. What we're really seeing here is this idea of body hacking.
I'm pretty sure this is not meant to be a bra that you just wear around.
Apparently not, and it's not anything that a prostitute would wear.
I don't really think it's body hacking either. That's so ridiculous.
I think that's just the buzzword to make it seem more interesting than it is.
We're not talking about like replacing human organs or eyes or enhancing someone's ability to do something. This is just like you can wear this piece of clothing that might react.
It's basically a piece of novelty clothing.
It's a joke, really.
Hey, a new TJ fucks things.
Yeah, another one.
Fuck you, Ben.
Oh wait, no,
it's Ben.
I guess it's already been banned. He's been banned.
Ben is a fascist.
You don't get banned from our chat. You get banned from our chat.
Yeah.
That's BENNED.
And bend you over. And band you.
You got
the Ben hammer.
Bend over.
The Ben hammer. It's like Thor's hammer kind of in a way. It's like, give me my Ben hammer, and it flies into his hand, and he just like bans you.
Technology that's expanding beyond your mobile device. You see people walking around with these bands on their arm, and they tell you how many steps you walked. It's taking that trend and saying, what if we use technology to understand ourselves better? Now, understand ourselves better to a point where like our bra unlocks and where you find true love. I mean, I feel like you should probably get to know someone a little bit before, the bra unhooks, but I guess you can't really stop true love from happening.
I feel like she's laughing right now because she knows that she's being forced to talk about something that's absolutely absurd.
When you find true love, what about if the chick's just horny? I don't think that's necessarily love.
I mean, I want to know more about how this bra actually determines this. I mean, there was very little about the science behind
heart rate.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, how does that? How do you know? I mean, there's plenty of things that could raise a person's heart rate. Is there like a specific kind of heart rate that only people in love have? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Ben has become so obsessed with policing the chat room that he's no longer paying attention to the show. He's just like, I'm going to ban this person. I'm going to ban this person.
I do think we're probably going to have to add moderators to our chat room, unfortunately, which you can do, but
we need mods. So if anyone out there would like to be our policeman, let us know. We will take applications. You got bend, bitch.
You got bend. I like that.
I was the one that made that.
Actually, bananas do the fucking.
Oh no! You're talking about a banana.
Why you say that?
You did not just go there. You did not just go there. How dares yous? Freedom of speech.
Okay, first of all, freedom of speech doesn't apply.
You don't even know what freedom of speech is.
You don't even know what freedom of speech is.
It's hilarious.
And it's funny. You live in Canada, a country that, like, if someone, makes, like, a lot, they can say a lot of things, and it's like, similar to the UK, where, like, if you make a racist comment, you can be thrown in jail, which I don't agree with. Even though, I mean, you are an ignorant idiot, you don't really deserve to go to jail.
It's kind of funny, like, how much fucking time do these people have on their hands to just keep making new accounts?
A lot.
A lot.
He's a lonely 15-year-old boy in like London, Ontario. I think he has plenty of time.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next story we have is actually going back to SE Cupp again here.
Oh God, another boob story.
Oh yeah, these stories have been really smart.
Because she has big boobs and she is a boob herself.
Yep.
To me, Mo, it seems like without the Republican brinksmanship and obstructionism that you guys like to complain about, we kind of just took the wind out of your sails. How will you ever win another election if you don't have Republican obstructionism to blame for Obama's failed policy?
Oh, there isn't enough Republican obstructionism out there for us to run. I mean, it's time and time again. They passed it this time. only because Democrats helped them pass it this time, not because Republicans did. Remember, 200 members of the House, Republican members of the House, voted no. Not one member of the Senate actually voted to increase or to pay our bills.
Oh, so even now this was Republican
So my point is,
obstructionism?
they did it with, they did it with Democratic help, but it got done after the last 2 times they tried this, bringing us to the brink, shutting down the government.
I know you want to talk about the last time, but we just got a clean debt
You
ceiling.
don't get a gold star for doing your
job. We just took it off the table
job.
for you guys. Wouldn't you have preferred for Republicans?
You know what I want to talk about?
To threaten to shut down the government again?
I'll tell you what I want to talk about.
Oh, I know what you want to talk about. Anything other than the question I just...
Does she object, like when he points out that barely any House Republicans voted for it and no Senate Republicans voted for it? How can she say that's not Republican obstructionism? What is the argument there? She just makes these statements that have no fucking basis in any sort of argument.
I think that S.E. Cupp needs to attend a course on like logic and reasoning because she doesn't have any. I mean, it's totally absent in all of her arguments. You see it time and time again. She's just strawmans everything repeatedly. Like, you just want Republican obstructionism. Oh, it's like, what? What are you talking about? Every time I hear her talk, I'm just like, what is this person talking about?
It's like she just has... It's like she's a puzzle with like 100 missing pieces. And she just doesn't notice these huge gaps that prevent any sort of real picture from emerging. It's like you come at her and you say, like, look, you say that there was no Republican obstructionism here, but no Senate Republicans voted for this. No, and barely any House Republicans voted for this. And she's like, oh, so you still think there was obstructionism? Yeah. He just presented evidence to that fact, you fucking moron. Jesus Christ. What more does he have to do? It's like you show her a fucking...
Yeah, they're clearly obstructing this from happening. Like, a bunch of Republicans wanted a bunch of caveats, like, oh, you have to cut this, you have to cut this, or, you know, we're not going to vote for this
And by the way, if
debt increase.
This is kind of late, but if Ben was wearing that bra that unlocks when you're in love, it would unlock when he saw John Cena. I just want to put that out there.
Ask, wouldn't you have
Oh, no. Do not get me wrong. Do not mistake me one little bit, Essie. I absolutely want to talk about the fact that we are trying to move forward with an economic opportunity agenda. Republicans refuse to talk about that. Republicans refuse to talk about any of these issues. There are bills.
Obama won't negotiate.
There are
Obama
bills.
goes around
There
Congress.
are bipartisan bills on the Speaker's desk he will not touch. Why? Because of an obsession with the Affordable Care Act, because of this repeated brinkmanship on the... I'm glad that there were a couple of Republicans out there that allowed Democrats to help carry them across the line this time.
Hold on, the one thing I want to, we're in the business of politics, and Essie's question and your question deal with politics. So let's look at it. One, we've got the second largest or third largest majority in the House of Representatives, and we're likely to make gains. Okay, so as far as
What scenario?
I will, under like every
The
one
magic
of them.
rainbow
So
scenario.
You
Your
will not.
internal
There
polls,
is
those
not,
worked out well for you.
All right. No. But my point is that I think even your boss.
This is just this Republican saying that they're going to make major gains. I mean, I could be wrong, but this just seems like another example of them being so sure that Mitt Romney is going to be the next president, despite all of the polling data indicating the opposite. They just held that as an article of faith.
You know, I just received a message from Galen, almost defending S.E. Cupp.
Galen has this thing for defending incredibly stupid conservative women. This is like, there was a time when Galen told me that Michelle Bachmann was a brilliant strategist. He's also claimed that Sarah Palin is a fucking genius. Galen has the shittiest track record on conservative women. I think he just has a boner for conservative women and defending them. So
Galen wants to have a gangbang.
It's really just more intellectual masturbation from Galen.
I'd like to have Galen on right now. So maybe
bring him on. Let's hear his defense.
S.E. Cupp and Michelle Bachmann and Sarah Palin all at the same time.
If he's willing to come on the show, I'm sure he's listening because he's talking about S.E. Cupp.
Yeah. So Galen, if you want to come on, you can do that.
I don't know. Galen's recovering.
Yeah, from pneumonia.
So I don't know if he's wanting to come on the show right now or if he's feeling up to it. But if he is, sure.
Write to us, Galen, if you want to come on the show. If not, we're not going to call you out of the blue, in case you don't want to.
All I see is an option for call mobile, though. I think he might be on his mobile device right now.
Yeah, maybe so. All right. Well, I'll play a little bit more of the clip.
Let's play a
here.
little bit more of this clip.
Have admitted that the House is not able to be taken back, right? They were banning it. They're now playing for a Senate strategy. They're playing a prevent defense. So, but let's look at who's critical to the Senate keeping the Dems keeping the Senate. Pryor, Landrieu, Kagan. Every one of your folks is running from the president. Literally
Let's
saying, I do not
let's
want to
stick on this
campaign
let's stick on this conversation.
Yeah, and that's actually the end of the clip.
They should be running from the president because, I mean, Obama is not a good president. I think we can all agree at this point that, you know, whatever potential or whatever hope we had for him has been dashed completely and utterly. He's not a good president. He's not going, I don't think he's going to pull being a good president out of his ass in the next couple of years. But I really don't think he hurts the Democrats' position that much because the Republicans are just still so fucking crazy and backwards.
They really are the party of obstructionism. They pretty much just want to say no to any other ideas presented. Like, well, we don't like that, unless it's pretty much right in line with the ideology of the most conservative people in their party.
Yeah, Galen said he's at home. He just needs a minute here. But yeah, it'll be interesting to hear because I know both of you are very opinionated. And
can you go ahead and read his comment? Because I can't see
versus TJ.
Basically, this was Galen's comment that I got. It said, having conversed with S.E. Cupp, she can actually lay out logical arguments, but what she does on these shows and in her last books is just a show. Don't take it seriously. It's all for those who buy into the false dichotomy politics.
Well, that could very well be true. I mean, but I don't think. But Galen has this tendency of thinking that every idiot Republican woman is a secret genius, and I just don't buy it. Some people really are just fucking idiots.
And I mean, if she's doing that, then she's just a shill, anyways. I mean,
that's actually
why should we respect?
That
her
makes her
opinion?
even worse, doesn't it?
The thing that made her lose the most credibility with me was the I'm an atheist, but I could never vote for an atheist because I could vote for anyone if I think they're right for the job.
Yeah, like, I'm the amazing atheist. I have so many problems with fucking religion. But if there was a hardcore religious candidate that shared my values, who I thought made good policies, I would have not even a fucking second of compunction about voting for them.
Yeah. So, I don't know if Galen heard your tirade about S.E. Cupp earlier, but you were pretty passionate about how stupid you think she is. So this should
She's
be...
either, if she believes the things she's saying on these shows, she's stupid. If she doesn't believe the things she's saying on these shows...
Then she's just ingenuous.
Then she's so disingenuous that it's practically evil.
I mean, and she's not running for political office or political gain. That's basically just doing this for monetary gain. Like, ooh, I believe these things, so give me some money, buy my book, whatever. Have me on your show.
Should we, okay, so I think Galen's telling us that he's ready, but it doesn't say, yeah, so...
Let's just try to call mobile and see
call
if
Skype. Yeah.
Give it a shot.
All right, we'll see.
Let's see.
TJ and Galen are going to fight on air. Their friendship will their friendship be ended? Find out now on the Drunken Peasants podcast.
All right, here he is.
Galen.
Hello.
You're on the air.
Okay.
Or whatever passes for air now that it's the internet.
Air.
Yeah, I'm muting this show and listening through Skype, so.
Okay.
All right,
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you just fine.
Okay. Ann Coulter is more real. She's actually a libertarian, but she portrays a Nazi, basically, you know, when because it makes her money. I mean, she's even admitted to this, that Bill Maher helped convince her, hey, play an evil, like, Republican, because it'll be funny. And it'll, all the people.
Galen, I'm sorry, you're really breaking up. You were coming in pretty clear a second ago, but now it's really
you're cutting
distorted.
out. Oh, we're getting an error message.
It looks like we're getting an internet connection problem here. Can you?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, can you call us back from a?
Can you get on your desktop? Because I think that your phone. If you're on your phone right now, or are you on your computer? I don't think he can hear me.
Desktop and it's showing full signal.
I don't know. Maybe the problem's on our end. Yeah, can you hear us?
I can hear everything. I'm having a perfect connection.
Okay, we can hear you now too.
Yeah, you came back.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You were talking about Ann Coulter?
Ann Coulter is a joke. I mean, she was created with Bill Maher. Bill Maher pretty much created her for the stupid idiots that only can see everything through a false dichotomy.
Yeah.
S.E. Cupp is riding that
bandwagon. Well, let me ask you, do you think that absolves her of any sort of culpability for the things she's saying? I mean, what is the contention
I still
here?
think she's a fucking moron, but I'm not going to buy into the arguments like hearing her and get baited by them.
Right.
You're being baited when you take her seriously. The whole thing is a piece of shit. Fuck CNN and fuck MSNBC and fuck all these people because they want you to buy into their fucking corrupt false dichotomy politics. It's a Republican or Democrat when they're both fucking you in the ass. And it's not with a banana, TJ.
I can actually agree with you on that. But my thing is, like, look, either she genuinely believes the things she's saying and she's an idiot, or she doesn't believe it and she's just saying it for attention, in which case she's beyond unethical.
Well, Galen said she's doing it for monetary
then
gain.
there's the latter. That's it.
TJ's mic just fell. I mean, but if she's doing it for monetary gain, I understand what you're saying, that she's playing a character, that she's doing this to rabble-rouse, to make money. But, I mean, in our view, that just makes her so disingenuous that, like, why would you want to, like, respect or listen to this person? Or even, I mean, like, I understand what you're saying as well. Like, okay, this is just to play to this audience of these very partisan people. But, I mean, we're not really taking the view that we agree with CNN or MSNBC. We're just taking the view that this person is a piece of shit.
And really another thing about it is that even if she doesn't believe the arguments, I'm sure there is someone out there nodding their head to this shit. So, I mean, it still warrants some form of refutation. I mean, whether
there's a lot to unravel there with the left and the right. They just want you to say it's either this or that. It's like a big leading question.
Explain.
Well, I mean, they set up a scenario in which the argument, it's either this or that, the false dichotomy, and they tell you what to think. People go around saying they believe in voting, they believe in freedom, and these people and those people, but where is the freedom in voting for this or that when the public is so fucking dumb? Like, they're idiots. They'll be led. They would elect anyone. They'll vote they would vote to end basic rights because they don't even believe in a constitution. The public is completely unintelligent. No one gives a fuck. The voting process is complete shit. Okay? The American dream is a piece of shit.
I actually don't disagree with any of that.
And by the way, my defense of Michelle Bachmann was how she got to where she was. She was very good at what she did, if you study her. The sad thing is, I still think she's a disgusting piece of shit. But it's kind of laughable that when she tried to go for president, she abandoned all of her principles that were actually for achieving success, which were ruthless and evil. She abandoned all those and went with all these assholes and fucked herself. And it was like kind of funny seeing this asshole fuck herself, and what she did to herself.
It was funny too because she didn't even pay the people.
Was she good at getting to where she was?
She didn't even pay the people.
Did she try that when she went into
consultants.
the big election? No. And like
she dropped out first. Everyone remembers that she dropped out first, and she didn't even pay the people that she hired to run her campaign. So I mean,
right.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt what you're saying is true, that she basically just ran a campaign totally different. I mean, I don't think she would have won regardless, but I mean, I could see the validity of your argument that she basically is like, okay, I have to change my strategy to win a presidential election, a national election, and it really just backfired completely and totally against her.
Yeah, I got to say, TJ saying like I think she's a genius. She wasn't a genius there. Was she successful? This repugnant pile of shit got to where she was. I think that's an interesting story. Like, she got to where she was. There are a lot. If you look through all of Congress, if you look through all of Congress and the Senate and also in the White House and every motherfucker who works there, you find pieces of shit who have no ethics. They're like, fuck this shit. They're like, fuck America. We're going to urinate on the Constitution. They don't give a fuck about nobody's rights. It's a place where they take money and divide it up with special interest and contracts for people. That's all they do, and they take their money, and they're like, everybody, we're going to do stuff for you. And all the dumbass people are like, yeah, you're going to do stuff for us. Yeah, right.
Let me ask you a question. I want to get back to S.E. Cupp for a second.
Okay, what about that whore?
The comment you sent me was basically that you, like, in private conversation that you've had with her, she's exhibited the ability to...
And she's a nice person, too.
But she can be logical. And then when she comes on here, the logic flies out the window because
of course,
it's political
if she did that,
pageantry.
No one would listen to her.
So let me just ask you, what do you think of that? Do you think that that's justified on her part? How do you feel about someone who dumbs themselves down intentionally just to get this sort of notoriety?
Well, it sure as hell ain't me, because I ain't popular.
Well, let me just ask you, like, how do you think we should approach stories like that?
I go every chance I get. I denigrate atheists as being the stupidest fucks alive. I compare them with young Earth creationists. That don't make me popular.
Galen, we actually want to go visit the Creationist Museum because we think it's going to educate us and teach us more about the Earth and what happened.
Well, you would be in better company than being at an atheist gathering.
I completely agree with you. I think the atheist cons are just a joke. I'm like, okay, this is a giant circle jerk. I see this as nothing different than like going to a Christian youth retreat.
Well, especially the atheist conventions that incorporate the feminism into the
give me a
Atheist
break.
Plus.
Well, that's two cults in one, and both
two for the price of
one.
one.
The feminists, it's no wonder that they are attracted to the atheism because they can say patriarchy, religion, and that's it. It's a real simple thing where they can play a victimization cult. It's, and of course not ever even have to think about the history of the various feminisms or have any intellectual quality. They throw all that out and then have an at-faith cult.
I always thought that the feminists, they always kind of reminded me of the Catholic Church back in the day because it's all this. They're very anti-sex. They're all about it's inherently sinful to have certain sexual urges, and sex is only acceptable in these very limited circumstances.
I have a question for you, TJ.
Sure, go ahead.
Would you rather be a Catholic or a feminist? I'm going for Catholic.
Yeah, me too.
They got a lot of philosophy over there, too, that's very attractive.
Well, I actually did, when I knew a Catholic person who was, I don't remember exactly what they were studying in the church, but there was like Nietzsche on the reading list. There was some genuine intellectualism going on there. I think that most...
there's a lot.
The current Pope has a degree in chemistry, so, obviously they're not totally brain dead.
Preach just died. I was telling you about him.
But, most modern incarnations of feminism seem to have totally divorced themselves from any sort of intellectual pursuits.
They jumped the shark, man. They're way out there.
Well, so has most of atheism.
Yeah,
they're garbage, and feminism has.
As someone that went through Catholicism, kindergarten through 12th grade, I can tell you that, Catholicism is one of the few large Christian churches that does accept modern science, whether that be evolution or any type of thing that the evangelical movement denies. I would say that the Catholic Church is, and this is not the feminist definition of it, this is the true definition of it, the Catholic Church is for sure a patriarchy, for sure. Just by the fact that it is run by men and the women involved
exclusively men,
Yeah.
Women cannot really be authority figures. Well, they can be nuns.
Yeah, they hold no position in the church.
Literally, what is the position that women have in the Catholic Church? None.
None. Easy.
None. Right.
One word.
I'm still in favor of, despite that, which I object to with the Catholics, there's so much, but I still, if we're going to go into the lesser of two evils, false dichotomy, silliness, then I would go for there in an unperfect world.
Well, thanks, Galen. We're going to move on to our next story, but we always appreciate hearing from you.
Yeah,
you always,
thanks for being on.
You always kind of call people on their bullshit as you see it, and everyone here appreciates that because we're all the same way.
Well, when could I not do that? And by the way, what was that recent video you did with atheism? That article?
The BuzzFeed.
The BuzzFeed article. The
Oh, man, I
9
wanted
most
to
annoying
choke
things
you for
about
that.
atheists.
He wanted to choke you for that.
Well, maybe we can have an argument
Man,
about that on
I
next. Let's discuss that on tomorrow's show. I'll bring you on again, and we can talk about your issues with it.
Is he still there?
I don't know.
Galen's loading the gun to kill you. He's
loading the gun right
he's
now.
Like, fuck this motherfucker. You die.
He's getting in his car right now. He'll be here in what, about 12 hours?
Yeah, 12 or 13 hours. Oh,
I got
shit.
12 hours to live.
12 hours left of life, TJ.
What I think we're going to do now is take a break, and we'll ask all the listeners.
Okay, well, if we're going to take a break, let's just go to calls afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, look,
question to
our
TJ.
Skype is Drunken Peasants. Do not call us. We will call you. If you want to be called, add us to your Skype and send us a question.
Yes.
We will review your question. If we like it, we will call you. Be prepared to ask your question on air. If we call you and you act like you don't know what the fuck is going on, you will be hung up on and called a moron.
Yeah.
So, in all fairness, we'll probably call you moron anyway.
And also, don't listen for us on the show. If we call you, there's going to be a delay. So,
right. So turn down the volume on the show and just listen to the volume on the Skype.
How about this? We'll tell you we're going to call you. We say we like your question, we're going to call you. So
That's too hard.
Oh.
Too much work.
Oh my god. Okay.
Too
fine.
much fucking work.
Whatever.
The fuck you trying to do?
Trying to make it organized. You fucking stupid.
You fucking stupid as fuck.
All right, we'll be right back on the Drunken
Sayonara.
Peasants podcast. Send us your questions now, right now. If you have a good question,
Drunken Peasants,
send it to us
on Skype. Don't call us.
Smoke pan.
We'll call you.
listening to All right, we're back.
We are back. Aaron Anderson just asked, "Is this the end of the show?" Not quite yet. We still have to take calls.
And also, we
Taking
don't
calls.
we don't give a fuck what you think about the music. you're just wasting your breath by bitching about it. If you want to make music and give it to us for free to play, then have at it. I mean,
especially if it's polka.
Yeah. The thing,
like literally, the thing is that literally whatever we play, some of you will hate. There's just no music that is universally loved by everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Play elevator music.
We would rather play something than have you all sit in silence, and the reason it takes so long this time is to read all the fucking questions. I mean, obviously you want us to read your questions, right?
Yes.
So stop bitching about how long it takes. Stop bitching about the music. We need music to fill the time, and this person that made this music gave it to us for free. We can't play commercialized music, or else the video will get flagged and get taken down. So shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck
Shut up, assholes, or whoop your ass.
Shut the fuck up.
Anyway, so you want me to call the first question that you
Let's
found
do it.
intriguing?
Let's call them. Colonel, this is
do
Snake.
it.
Can you hear me?
Just roll out some trance or techno then. All right.
Trance or techno? There you go. That pretty much covers every trance or techno song
we've
ever
done it.
written.
We did it. There you go.
All right, so we're going to call our first victim here.
The first rectum. I mean victim. Mott McSkite.
Don't breathe while typing.
Let's call Skit.
Hello?
Scoot.
Hello.
Hello, Scoot.
Greetings and
you hear me
salutations,
all right?
sir. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
I don't think he can hear us.
Can
I
you
think
hear
that's
us?
the
Okay, now I
problem.
can hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay.
Now I can't hear anything.
What is your question, sir?
Should I just start talking now?
Yeah, just ask us your question on the air. I mean, they can't read what you
Okay.
sent us.
I've been listening to the radio for a long time, and there's bands. I'm saying
We can't hear you.
Okay, hold on.
Hold on.
You need to turn down the live
Hold on.
stream. Turn down the live stream, and then go ahead and say your question again. Sorry.
Dead air.
Is that better?
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
We can hear you now. Good.
Yeah. Hello? All right.
Okay.
Fail.
Sorry, too many technical problems.
Fail.
All right.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Simple fucking instructions.
Yeah, it sounded like he was listening to the live stream and waiting to hear it there.
Sounds like he was listening to his own fucking ass.
I don't know what happened with that. That was just really strange.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so here's the next person.
This person has a similar question anyway. If they answer. Coming to you live from the Static Planet.
Hello, static person. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
No problem.
No problem,
What is
buddy.
your question, sir?
What's up?
Well, my question came to me as I was watching one of your last shows. Several of them, actually. The ones about Zimmerman and Bieber and Ted Nugent.
Mm-hmm.
It was making me wonder if celebrity status had an effect on people's minds. Or do you think they were just crazy to begin with?
Well, someone that becomes famous for being a fucking lunatic and shooting people was crazy. They were crazy to begin with.
Yeah, Zimmerman for sure.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about Ted Nugent for a second. I'm like,
Nugent, oh shit.
Well, him too.
Oh, he's crazy. I mean,
He's one of the people that
don't you think that it's a case? It's almost a case by case basis. Some of these people are crazy, and some of them become crazy because they get surrounded by yes men. Like, look at Prince. I mean, everyone knows this guy is nuts, but he's been basically from a probably
or like
20
maybe
30
Michael Jackson. He
Yeah.
was he
Yeah.
seemed
20 or
super
30 years
normal.
of his life.
Or
you know,
look,
he
coming
goes-
up.
Look at how many child stars grow up to be batshit crazy.
They're surrounded
Yeah.
by yes men. They're surrounded by people who always
I'm
say
starting
yes,
to
you
see
can
it in
have
Bieber,
this.
like whenever he first came around.
Well, the reason that I made those predictions about Bieber, the reason I was able to predict pretty much everything that's happened in his career so far, other than the fact that I thought he'd be gone by now, but I knew that if he was still around, he'd be going through the kind of stuff he's going through now.
Oh,
And you
yeah,
can,
I watched those videos.
yeah,
a
you
few
can look
years
at my
ago.
videos and bear that. And the reason I knew that is because I've seen it happen before. Look, it happened with Leif Garrett. Leif Garrett is the perfect analogy to Justin
yeah.
Bieber.
Heroin addiction.
Yeah, man,
it's
I
almost
love
like
nodding my head to those videos.
yeah, and the thing about it is, obviously, I've had I've never been a celebrity in the mainstream public eye, but I mean I've had my own little fame in my obscure corner of the internet, and I've seen how much scrutiny you get put under, and obviously I'm a pretty strange person in a lot of ways, but. I mean, I think the impact that fame has on people is that it creates within you this sense that your life and everything you do is super important and relevant. I think that you kind of get this on one sense, you have these people that treat you like you're a god and everything you say is right, and then you have these other people that treat you like you're the dumbest piece of shit ever, and it's just like, everyone has that in their lives, but if you have any sort of fame or notoriety, then it's just magnified and amplified 1,000 times.
I think you're taught to ignore your detractors because the people that like you
Right.
are way more than your detractors, especially the people you surround yourself with. And we even saw this with Michael Jackson, who was also a child star. We saw it with most of them. There's very few people who started out as child stars that are still functioning adults today, even still in the celebrity limelight. The only one I can think of, honestly, within the last few years is Justin Timberlake. He was a big star as a kid, and now he seems still like a well-adjusted, adult celebrity, and that's the
Yeah,
only
he's
one.
holding it together well.
I mean, look at Shia LaBeouf. That's another example.
Yeah, total implosion.
He got his ass kicked by a fat guy in Canada.
Yeah,
That was great.
And now he's wearing bags on his head, like they say Andy Kaufman might still be. It's pretty. I mean, there's definitely an impact on the human psyche. I think that but for every person that crumbles under the pressure, I think especially in the developmental years, it can be very damaging. But most people who find fame in adulthood do find ways to cope and adjust to it, and realize that just because everything you do is amplified doesn't necessarily mean that you're somehow larger than life, or that your life has some greater significance than
really
other
hard
people's.
I think what you're saying is it's a lot harder for these people to stay grounded.
Yeah, it sounds
in
like
reality.
it's got an effect on.
I mean, look, even the Pope,
person's
even
ego
the
whenever
Pope
they're
takes a
a
shit.
kid.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
no matter
in the woods though.
Even the Pope shits.
no matter how famous you are, you still have to take shits. You still have to fucking you still have to watch loved ones die. You still go
you still
through.
get sick. You still have all
Yeah.
these things. I mean, you're still human. There's nothing special about you besides the status that's been placed upon you. Whether it's deserved or not.
Right, exactly. I mean, but I think it's pretty undeniable to say that it has an impact on the human psyche. But doesn't everything that people do? I mean, working a shitty office job in a fucking cubicle for 20 years also has a profound impact on the human psyche. Being a fast food worker has an impact on the human psyche. There's pretty much anything you do or say, your brain is responsive, and it's going to make adjustments, and those adjustments are not always going to be healthy.
Right, yeah. It's always being altered.
Right.
By stimulus.
But,
Shit.
the celebrity thing does seem to make people go a little bit more out there. But, I mean, you got to realize that celebrity is like, hey, we will reward you with the attention that you desperately crave, because very few people become celebrities without being attention whores.
Yeah, and can you think of any other job where, if you're clearly a drug addict, with most other jobs, they'd be like, well, we're going to drug test you, and if you test positive, we're going to fire you. There's no drug test for being a celebrity.
Right.
You can still make albums, you can still make movies, you can still do whatever in the entertainment industry. They're not going to drug test
And have
you.
vast monetary rewards.
Yeah, exactly. To support your habit.
Yeah, so there's even a little bit less responsibility.
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes.
celebrities tend to get away with
Do you
things
think
easier.
that might help contribute to? Do you think that might help contribute to their sense of greatness?
I think that there's a sense of
being held a little bit less accountable.
Yeah, I mean, well, we see that celebrities get away with crimes easier. I don't think anyone can deny that. And I mean, obviously, if you have the sense that you're above the standard that everyone else is held to, and everything about your day-to-day life shows you that you're held to a different standard, in some ways a higher standard, but in some ways a much lower standard. I mean, it can be very confusing to a person. It's really not the same as I mean, you know, there's nothing about being a celebrity that is the same as being a normal person. And I can tell that just from my own little, tiny, insignificant speck of fame. Like, I can't even imagine being a real celebrity. It would be a total mindfuck.
Like an international superstar. Or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Like, what TJ gets times a million.
Yeah.
Yes. I can't even imagine that. I think I would just have to be like someone that isolates themselves from it, because I think that's why so many stars have to totally remove themselves from their fans and from the public, is because if they allow that to get to them, then it will just totally corrupt them.
Yeah, TJ, you don't even like being noticed at Olive Garden.
I know, right?
TJ ducks down in the booth like, oh shit, it's not me. Are you the amazing? No, it's not me.
Let's move on.
All right.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
for
the
your
call.
call, man.
Yeah, so we'll move on to the next person. Yeah, me and TJ went to Olive Garden, and the guy was like, "The amazing atheist," and the funny thing was, our waitress was like, "Are you the amazing atheist guy?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's his name. Call him the amazing atheist guy."
Oh, and spoiler,
From
they had sex in the bathroom.
The waitress or the waiter?
Both.
All three of them.
It was a sandwich.
It was a menage a trois.
It was a sandwich, and I was in the
Menage a
middle.
trois. Were you the peanut butter or the jelly, or were you the bread?
I was, I don't know, whatever's in the middle.
You were the mixture then, I guess.
I was the peanut butter and the jelly, and they were the two pieces of bread.
Yeah, okay.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Estoy muy bien.
What's your question?
Hi, my question is, do you think Mars exploration will fuck us in the ass? Or do you think it will...
What?
I want to
You cut out for a second. What'd you say?
He said he wants to know if Mars exploration will fuck us in the ass. I want to know the explanation behind your question.
Why do you think that would be the case?
I want to know the series of events that's in your head that leads to this.
Well, basically, if you see right now, the world is a shithole.
Mm-hmm.
Get really different in Mars.
Uh-huh.
I don't follow the logic at all.
I'm still not following, I'm afraid.
Okay, so if
Okay, let me go ahead and set the stage for you. We've gone to Mars. We've set up a colony on Mars. What are you asking? What are you asking about the fate? Are you asking if it will still be a shithole up there on Mars?
No, kind of. Okay, so will we fuck it up, like nuclear war?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So his question is,
Oh,
if we did happen to colonize Mars, would we fuck it up like the Earth?
Yeah.
That's your question, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Probably.
Yeah, more than likely.
I would be, you know,
Humanity
what I'm really wondering is if humanity actually gets to the point where we have colonized, say, the moon or Mars or other planets, I'm just wondering how long it will be before there's some sort of war analogous to the American Revolution where, you know, these planets resent being controlled by governments that are located on Earth and decide they want independence. I'm just wondering how long after we begin exploring space will it be before we have our first interstellar war? That's what always has been a curiosity to me, because I'm pretty sure that would happen if we did that.
It almost seems. I mean, it seems like we have more international cooperation in space because it's so hard to survive out there. So we've had cooperation between various countries that have made it into space that may not get along so well.
Yeah, once it becomes easier to do. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That kind of begs the
Something
question,
else
too.
is, like, if you think about it, we might have other materials on Mars that might help with this.
I mean, yeah, there could be new resources. I mean, the Earth is about to run out of helium. I wonder if there would be other stores of helium on Mars, because I know that in the early stages of Mars development, it was a very Earth-like planet.
Well, there's a lot of helium in our atmosphere, just the Earth's atmosphere, so it's just harder to gather. So it's not like we're running out. We're running out of the stores of it, but, I mean, we're not running out of it in our atmosphere.
Right. But, I mean, obviously, like, when it comes to the stuff that's sold commercially, they're having a harder and harder time meeting the demands.
We would... The point space travel have to get to, I mean, to go to Mars, just take resources away from it. We're not even anywhere close to that at this point.
Thank you for the call.
I mean, I think it's interesting, though. I mean, I've always wondered about that. I wonder if it would be the case that it would have that. I mean, how long would it take for a colony on another planet to be firmly established enough to feel like it could challenge the authority of the Earth?
You know, there was that Dutch company, I don't know if they were trolling or not, but they were talking about, you know, like a 30-year plan of establishing life on Mars. Obviously, it was a one-way trip.
Yes.
And they were going to first send rovers to build the first shelters, and then over time establish a colony. Obviously, you could never, without some sort of protective suit, leave the confines of the colony.
It would be a pretty brutal life.
Cabin fever.
I mean, for the first people to come, but I mean, obviously it was a pretty brutal life to come to the new world.
I would say after 2 generations were born there, they'd probably be used to it, but still.
Yeah. I mean, like the original Jamestown colony, pretty much.
We're talking about Roanoke Island and all that stuff.
Well, I'm not talking about Roanoke. I'm talking about Jamestown, which I think was a little later.
Okay.
Which was, I mean, it nearly collapsed, and several other colonies that were attempted to establish here did collapse.
They actually became tobacco farmers, and that's how they made their money. Originally,
America was built on tobacco.
It was.
The wacky tobacco.
I mean, I just think, but I mean, to answer his question, I think that we probably would fuck it up eventually, just knowing human nature. But I mean, that's all the more reason why I believe we should spread to the stars, because the human propensity to fuck things up, we probably are going to lose planets.
Yeah.
Especially as access to technology to build weapons of mass destructions become more available to just common people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, you know, if the common citizen can build a nuclear bomb, then the fate of the human species cannot be tethered to one planet.
And it also gives a new definition to suicide bombing.
Even something as simple as a dirty bomb, which is a regular bomb that carries radioactive material, can make a whole area unlivable.
Yes.
So
I mean, I just wonder. I mean, I think we'd fuck it up, to answer his question.
Yeah, and he was from Venezuela. I think that may have been part of the
Venezuela. Yeah, hard for him to communicate his ideas in English, I'm sure.
Yeah. So it seemed pretty good though. So we're gonna move on to the next question here. We'll call our next person here, and we'll see if he picks up. This is an interesting question.
I don't know if he's going to be asking it or if his girlfriend is going to be asking it.
God, no!
God, no!
God, no!
I heard a girl scream, God, no!
Are you auto-tuned or what?
Hey.
Turn down the show.
Turn down the show. Turn down the show.
It's off.
Okay.
So what was your question?
Yeah, my girlfriend wants to know, like, how she can be a feminist if she likes sex and if she likes the dick, like, that much.
Put her on, we'll ask her. Or we'll tell her.
I want to ask you directly, it seems like. Are you up for this?
Yes, we're up for it.
We're up for it.
Are you up for combat?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
You don't have to call me God. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're not even having sex right now, and you're already like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
Don't know what I'm doing right now. I could totally be having sex.
That's true.
He didn't sound like he was too into it. If you are,
yeah. Like I think he'd sound happier.
Boo.
He'd be like,
He's on horse tranquilizers right now.
Then again, maybe you're not having sex with him.
That's a valid point too. Maybe he's being.
Yeah, he's into that voyeurism stuff.
I understand.
No, but seriously, you guys were talking about like the feminists, like they're not into sex, and I was just like, well,
where do I fit in then? Because he just kind of looked over at me and laughed.
We're not saying that.
Well, you know, I mean, there's.
I mean, when you talk about things generally, obviously, there's someone's going to say, "Hey, that's not me."
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of instances where I mean, generalizations are always going to have exceptions, and I mean, obviously, I was making a generalization there.
Yeah.
You know, I've known plenty of feminists that enjoy sex. I mean, that's not uncommon. I'm just saying that there's a lot of them out there who are very anti-sex, and I've encountered those. I've had huge debates with them.
One of the shows, remember we had someone in like a story where it was like any sex you have is rape. Any sex when you penetrate is rape.
Yeah, I think feminism is such a broad and subjective term that it's hard to say what is and isn't a feminist. I mean, I don't think that, you know, an Anita Sarkeesian is on par with a Susan B. Anthony.
I mean, like if you just, I mean, if you just want to call feminism if you just want to say feminism is nothing other than the pursuit of gender equality, then I would qualify as a feminist. And in my opinion, I would be a better feminist than 90% of the feminists that I see occupying sites like Tumblr. But I don't want you to get the impression. I don't want you to get the impression that.
Yeah, because I was.
What happened?
I don't know.
It exploded.
Skype. Yeah, what were you saying again? Say that again. We lost you.
Oh, I was just saying because, you know, I heard the one about the every time a penis isn't a vagina, it's rape, and that just kind of, like, pissed me off because it's probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, you're just part of the patriarchy. Sorry.
You're part of the system, man.
Yeah.
See, and that's why, I mean, like, and that sort of feminism really says to women that, you know, you're stupid, you're idiots, you don't know what you like. If you think you like this, you're wrong and you've been brainwashed.
Yeah, I think the real feminists, someone like yourself, have to start calling out the bullshit feminists.
Yeah, I mean, instead of, I mean, like, really, I don't mean to bust your chops or anything, but instead of calling me out for some, you know, generalization that was obviously a generalization, maybe you should go after the people who gave me this impression in the first place.
Yeah, no, I wasn't, like, calling you out. I was like, well, I didn't realize that it was such a common thing with feminists to be, like, against sex, so it just I don't know.
go to Tumblr and just read the feminism
and
tag.
To have your mind blown by stupidity.
Be prepared to see how stupid the people who identify with the same ideology as you do are. But I have plenty of friends who consider themselves feminists, who are perfectly reasonable, perfectly nice people who have entirely reasonable ways of looking at the world. But then there's this massive other segment that are really just, you know, I don't even want to say man haters because that's really the wrong
just filled
term
with
too. But
and
just
hatred.
They just think they want to micromanage other people's lives to match their sensibilities.
Yeah,
it's like, look, if you don't like sex, that's fine for you. Like, if a girl says, I don't want to have vaginal sex, wonderful. That's your choice. That's your prerogative. But don't tell everyone else that this is rape and this is wrong and they shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, that is...
And, you know, most feminists don't go so far as to say that all PIV, that's penis and vagina, most don't go so far as to say that that's all rape. But there's plenty of feminists that say, oh, well, if sex is not done in this specific way, in this specific context, then it's wrong. Like, if you have rough sex, that's wrong. If you're in any sort of, like, BDSM activity or you call your girlfriend a slut, that's wrong. You know, even if she's into it, even if she likes it, that's wrong, that's bad. You're a bad person, you support the patriarchy, you're destroying women, you're an enemy of the state. I mean, you know, so I just want you to know that, you know, I obviously made a generalization. Maybe I shouldn't have been so generalized, but understand that the impression I have is from dealing with actual feminists out there on the internet who have brought forth these contentions to me.
Liar.
Liar. Boo. Boo, TJ. Boo. Boo. Liar. Boo.
Thanks for the question, though.
Thank you.
Yeah,
we do appreciate it.
It's actually...
I like that you gave me the chance to clarify my point, so
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So we'll call this person. I like his comment here, like we don't already know that. It's kind of funny.
Wrestling fake.
Yeah, you know, no one ever was like, hey, did you see that movie Star Wars? Well, that shit was fake.
Star Wars is bullshit. None of that shit happened.
That shit was fake. They weren't really in space.
They said a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but that never even
that
happened.
Shit was fake.
They presented as history,
Yeah,
but it's
we know
not.
wrestling's fake. Some people enjoy wrestling because they know it's fake. I mean, it's the story that they get compelled by. It is,
or just the athleticism.
Yeah,
or whatever.
If it has to be totally real for you to enjoy it, then that's fine. It's all
just
subjective.
Don't watch it.
But I'm pretty sure you watch TV shows and movies that are also fake.
Yes.
So here we go. This guy.
It's a TV show with actors that perform live.
Yep.
It's like dinner theater on steroids.
Yep.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh, dude, this guy sounds fake. I think he's fake.
You're fake, bro.
You're fake.
Anyway,
phony.
You're a phony.
So my question is, yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm a little, nervous, not used to talking in front of people like this. But anyway,
hey,
that's fake.
Listen.
You're fake.
Listen. Just breathe. Just go.
So I was, Cult of Dusty, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we had him on our show.
He's been on the show before. Yeah.
Well, I joined his group on Facebook, and they made a video on YouTube talking about how as an atheist and as like a man of science, I still believe that there's ghosts. I'm not going to say they're like dead people or what they are, but the experiences I've had, I just can't not think that there's something.
Turn down your shit in the background.
Turn down all the stuff in the background. Okay, listen.
Oh, sorry.
Just when you say your experiences, why don't you give me an example of an experience you've had?
Well, when people tell me stories like this.
Well, I don't want to know a story someone else told you. I want to know.
No.
Yeah,
this
because
is what happened to me. I'm just gonna explain myself.
Okay.
Here.
No. I understand.
Really,
look. I'm not going to mock your story. I'm not going to fucking sit here and say you're lying or anything like that. Just go ahead and tell me your story.
Sounds pretty fake.
I was sitting in my my friend's house in the living room, and I could see the kitchen from where I was sitting.
Right.
And we hear we were the only two home. We were watching TV. And you heard just a little mumble come from the kitchen. So I'm like, dude, do you hear that? he was 2 years older than me at the time. I was 11. So I was like, dude, get up and check that out, So he gets up and he walks into the kitchen and then he's standing there. He's looking around and he turns and looks at me and you hear, Brian, fucking echo through the whole house. It was the most unbelievable thing that's ever happened to me. And I remember the look in his eyes when that happened. I couldn't believe a bunch of other things happened too that in that house, a doors opening and shutting by themselves and watching a black figure just walk into a room, then the door shut behind it. And when I tell people these stories, I really feel like I'm lying, but I know I'm not, because I have memories of it, but they don't believe it's hard to have a serious opinion on this.
Well, let me
you know what I mean.
Let me just say that I've had similar experiences. I lived in a house where I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would see figures in the room. One time I even tried to get up and tackle something that was standing at the edge of my bed, only to have it disappear around my arm, in my arms.
See, that shit should not be part of reality,
But
it just shouldn't be real.
There's some important things to note. There's been documented cases of certain types of sound waves causing people to have hallucinations. Second of all,
at the same time?
Yeah, well, the thing about it is that if you both have this idea in your heads that something is happening, there is a precedent for the group psychology of we're all perceiving this event. And as you talk about the event amongst each other, the event, you have to realize that the nature of memory is your memory is not a perfect snapshot of a moment. Your memory is a rough sketch of a moment.
Yeah.
So when you have a discussion with someone afterwards, you guys are actually synchronizing your memories of what happened. And you have to realize, you have to understand that hallucinations are far more common than people realize.
Yeah.
I actually realized later that the figures in my room were something that's called hypnopompic hypopic hallucinations, which are hallucinations that happen just as you're emerging out of REM sleep. It's like vestigial.
Well, I've had sleep paralysis before where
I have as well. I have as well.
In my room and everything, and I'm like, oh, like freaking out until I rip myself awake, and then he disappears. You know?
Yeah, I actually suffered from sleep paralysis all throughout my teens, and I would, more often than seeing something, I would just sense a presence of something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
I mean, I'm not, and look, I'm not even saying that this didn't happen, but I'm saying that
there's other possibilities.
What's really the more likely explanation? That this is something that's going on in your mind, or that this is something that's happening in reality? And I tend to believe that it's probably something that's going on in your mind. You have to realize that nothing you actually see around you, you're not really seeing anything. Photons are bouncing in your eyes, and your brain is constructing a picture based on that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have an expectation of seeing something, you're more likely to see it.
Yeah, so what's your opinion on the Son of Sam? You ever heard of the Son of Sam before?
The guy the talking dog, and he told him, like, the dog told him to kill people.
Yeah. So there was actually a dog in front of him that he actually saw that was a real dog, but it told him to kill things. So is that any less valid than your experience?
Well, like, I don't know. That's like a talking dog. You know, like
a talking dog,
no one else
spirits
heard.
opening and closing doors is more valid.
Yeah, I mean,
well, I'm not saying like they're spirits or anything, but like, well,
what are they then?
People had, like, you know, if two people heard the dog speak, that'd be different. But
have you ever heard of a Ouija board where multiple people all touch the same thing and it all points? Yeah, so
that's a load of crap.
I'm just.
How is that?
I'm not even denying the experience.
Several witnesses. Hold on. Several witnesses saw this thing on the Ouija board move to letters that all comprehensively came together and formed a word. These were several witnesses, more than just two. How is that less valid than your argument?
Their hands on
there was.
The board,
hold on. It was several people.
There was that. But look,
they said it moved by itself.
I'll go you one better. If you accept these as supernatural phenomena, then I would say that you have to be a Christian, because there was an incident.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Where thousands of people, thousands, saw the sun move and the Virgin Mary appear. I'm not even joking here. I forget what the name of the incident was, but in the 1920s or 30s, thousands of people gathered, and they saw a vision of the Virgin Mary, and they saw the sun dancing in the sky. And they were all Catholic. So that means that if we accept,
but what you're saying is not clear-cut evidence to anything. You're trying to say, well, this is, you just believe me. I mean, no. Even if you're not saying that, even if you're not saying that, hey, excuse me, sir. Trying to make a point, okay? Do you want me to, okay, I'm trying to respond to what you're saying. I'm trying to respond to what you're saying, sir. Do you want me to respond to what you're saying, or you just want to fucking run your mouth? I don't understand.
No, I couldn't hear you. You're breaking up, dude.
Okay, well, I'm trying to respond to you. Okay, what I'm saying to you is you're giving us anecdotal evidence. Like, okay, we understand you believe this. You don't really care about anything else we're going to say. Oh, okay, well, that's what I believe. We understand that. What you have provided us at best is an anecdotal story. This doesn't prove anything. This doesn't. What's the evidence that this happened? You and your buddy said this happened, correct? That's it?
Yes. Well, that's not what I was getting at. I'm not trying to prove anything to you guys.
So then why are you telling us the story?
I was just asking what you guys would thought about, experiences like this, bringing up discussion. I wasn't trying to prove anything to you guys.
Well, I don't understand that. Okay, so you want us to discuss it, but every time we bring up a point, you're like, well, no, that's not true, that's not correct, you know.
No, that's not what I was doing. At least I didn't think I was doing that.
Well, that's kind of how you came across, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe that wasn't.
Well, I was just saying that there could be. Don't completely throw out the window that there's stuff we just don't understand.
I don't think we should throw anything out the window. I don't think
anyone's saying that.
I don't even think we can totally write off the idea that there are ghosts. I just think that it's a much more likely explanation that these are caused by inherent fallacies in human perception. because we have this
probably.
we have this notion that our perception is this perfect, crystal clear thing, when really it's not. It's murky and spotty at best. And these sorts of there's all sorts of documented phenomena out there. There's hallucinations. There's I forget what the type of sound vibration is, but there's certain places that if they have a certain resonancy,
yeah, people think
it makes people feel uncomfortable. It makes people feel there's a presence. And if you feel that there's a presence, you're more likely to see signs of a presence. You're likely to see figures and shadows. You're likely to see movements out of the corner of your eye. I mean, I'm just saying that you should approach this stuff with the utmost skepticism, because what you're dealing with here is something that, you know, it's easy to, for some reason, for people to jump to the most extraordinary explanation. And I think that ghosts are the most extraordinary explanation. And as far as I'm concerned, we haven't ruled out any of the more likely possibilities.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. And I'm not trying to diminish your experience or anything like that, or say that you're wrong or that you're lying, because I'm sure that you feel like you've had this experience and you probably had some sort of experience. But what I'm telling you is that I think the experience was more about what was going on in your heads, in your mental states, than it was about, you know, something actually
I
happening.
agree with you, and I don't agree with.
Well, the thing is that there's something, whether it's mental or not, that we should be looking into as, you know, as scientists. Not like saying scientists should be looking into this more. I think
There's no way a scientist can measure this.
Well, here, actually, I want to make a recommendation to you. I want you to the next time you're in a Barnes and Noble or any other bookstore, check out Skeptic magazine, because they do a lot of discussion about ghosts. They go to people who have seen ghosts. They try to get to the bottom of ghost sightings, and they use the scientific method to do so. And more often than not, there is a solid scientific explanation, or at least a very viable hypothesis. So there actually are people out there that are studying this stuff with the scientific method and basically debunking it. I think you should look into that. There's probably some good books out there. I couldn't recommend any offhand. But I thank you for your call, and let's move on, because we've been on the air with him for 11 minutes now.
It's funny. I saw a comment saying that TJ is really nice to callers. They obviously didn't listen to the first show where we took calls.
Yeah. You know, the point I wanted to make about it to him too was he's like, "Oh, you're not trying to prove this," but every time we would say something, you know, try to explain it, he would just sit. It was an instant refutation.
It was very clear that there was something that he wanted to believe, that he was kind of trying to get us to believe. And I don't even object to...
No, I don't object to him believing that, and I understand his point. I'm just saying, like, well, my thing to ask him is, like, why do you want us to discuss it? Well, I just, you know... I kind of saw his agenda behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I did too, but that's why you have to kind of...
I think he was a bit disingenuous. I'm not saying he was totally disingenuous person, but I think he was a bit disingenuous.
I agree with you that he was probably being a bit disingenuous with his rhetoric.
I had to call bullshit on that, but then he would just say, oh, no, that's not what my intention was.
Of course, because that's why he hid behind a disingenuous notion in the first place.
We've even seen in courts of law that several eyewitness testimonies, when the witnesses have spoken with each other before giving their testimony, their eyewitness accounts seem to fit more together.
Yeah, but because, like I said, memory is a rough sketch.
TJ, do you remember the thing we read? I'm not sure where we read this, but there was someone who was actually called on a trial, and they said, we want to identify who the perpetrator was, and they actually identified someone who was an expert on human memory, because they'd seen them on a show talking about this.
Yeah.
And we were just like, whoa, I think maybe it was a Howard Bloom thing.
I don't remember exactly.
I want to say it was something along the lines of that.
Do we have any more callers, or was that the last guy?
No, there's one more that we kept note of here.
Well, let's go ahead and give him a call.
All right. Give him a call here.
And then we'll wrap this up.
All right.
And actually identified someone who was...
Hello,
Hey,
Nick.
how you doing?
Doing pretty good. That's great. How you doing, man? Well, I already asked how you're doing. What's your question?
Yeah, my question is, basically in the coming future, how is society going to cope with increased automation, and basically what's going to happen to all the people's jobs that are inevitably going to be automated away? Because, there's always this argument that automation is going to take jobs away, but it's also going to create jobs. And I don't deny that, but I just think that I don't think it's going to be a 1-to-1 replacement ratio. Like a good example is Google self-driving cars. I think that, within the next several years, maybe not within the next several years, but at least within the next several decades, you'll start to see, truck drivers, taxi drivers, bus drivers, people who drive forklifts. Those things are things that can clearly be automated, and Google's kind of already demonstrated that. I think something like 1 to 2 million people. I don't know how many people are employed as professional drivers.
Millions.
But at least
you sound like you're out of breath there, my friend.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Well, I think it's
I saw
an
the
well, when
thing,
you look at society, okay. Like,
but basically, what I'm saying is that do you think? How is society basically going to cope with the fact that so many jobs are going to be automated?
We understand your question, sir. Sir,
are we going to have to?
Hey, we understand your question.
This is coming out totally wrong. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
No,
we understand.
We got you. It's coming out better than you think. Don't worry. We've already got what you
totally
mean.
understand what you're saying.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry.
No
I was
worries.
looking if I'd written the question down. I was kind of
Okay. We need to respond. Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Just not. This is the point where you stop talking and we talk. I'm helping you through this. This is a learning experience. Do you guys want to answer first?
No, you go.
Okay.
This is your issue.
Okay, well, I'm actually interested in this issue, and I know a lot about it. When you look at human history, like we've had, the Industrial Revolution, for example, people primarily were farmers, right? And then technology came about. It's like, okay, now we're going to go work in these factories. And now the point you're bringing up is, okay, now we're having this technology that just totally replaces people. It's not just to help people. They're totally replaced. And you're right. There's not going to be jobs to replace them. We've already seen that. I mean, people used to be secretaries. We don't longer need a secretary. That's something like a CEO or someone very high up in a business organization that actually has someone dedicated to managing their affairs.
Yeah.
I mean, so through automation, we're going to eliminate a lot of jobs. And you're right, we're not going to be able to replace those jobs. It's just not going to happen. I mean, self-driving cars is one. I mean, and just look at the retailers that are going by the wayside. Best Buy is going down. Circuit City already went down. These retailers are scrambling to get online, and there's just going to be a lot less presence in brick and mortar stores. There's going to be a lot less presence in general. And I mean, to answer your question, is anything going to be able to be done to stop it? And really, the technology curve, no. I mean, what we're going to have to do, really, in the kind of a transitional period of having all these really extra people around, is just going to have to find ways to distract them. And I think we kind of see that more with society. I mean, with technology, I think people and governments realize we really have to distract these large population groups, because if you don't, they're basically going to demand to get rid of automation, because they're going to say, well, hey, this robot does this job. If we just destroy them, then we'll have jobs. But I mean, nothing's really going to stop the advance of technology. But there's no way you're going to replace those jobs, because people are going to be totally removed from the equation.
Especially imagine automating a McDonald's, because if you could automate a McDonald's, you can automate every single one. Yeah. That's how many? I mean, I get there are going to have to be people that work at these corporations that employ these automation systems, but it's not going to be anywhere near the number that replaced it. And even if it was, that would totally defeat the purpose of the automation.
I just wonder if it's going to create this feedback loop where the effect on jobs is so great that the consumer base is diminished, and there's less demand for automation because there's not enough people who can afford to even use these services anymore, because no one has a fucking job because everything's been automated.
Then automation saves you money, so then you want to automate.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned McDonald's, because actually when I was a kid, this would have been in the early to mid 90s, I went to a science museum in Cleveland, Ohio, and they had a McDonald's there, and pretty much everything aside from the cash registers was totally automated. They had a machine that would pour the fries into the baskets and dip the fries down into the hot oil to cook them, and then pour them in a conveyor belt, would box them up. They had a machine that would flip the hamburgers and then put all the ingredients onto the bun, put the bun together, wrap it up, and put it down a chute, and then even a machine that would bag it. And this was in the early 90s. So, I mean, now today, yes, they could have a totally automated McDonald's, and that's what they're threatening. Actually, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but a few months ago, they kind of had a pseudo strike. I know they're not unionized, but fast food workers kind of had a fake strike where a lot of them didn't show up for work. And that's what a lot of these big shots at these corporations were threatening was, we're just going to automate the whole restaurant if you're not going to show up for work because we're not going to pay you above minimum wage for what you're doing.
People are saying Scotty's mic is too low.
All right.
It's kind of late to make the adjustment, but
it's pretty much all the way up.
Oh.
Yeah, but I was just wondering, are we going to have to go to move away from like a totally capitalist like economic system where people have to work to sustain themselves because in the coming age of automation, what are you going to do when there's 50-60 million people in the United States that don't have jobs?
I've often I used to watch Star Trek. I mean, I still watch Star Trek, but I used to wonder when I watched Star Trek, how can they have no capitalism in the future? But now I'm starting to see that really, as technology advances, capitalism becomes obsolete.
Yeah.
It's really not going to be it really can't be the system we use in the future because it's just not going to be viable.
Mm-hmm.
Because our technology is just going to become so advanced that it's unnecessary for human beings to do these jobs. And, people are, no one's going to accept that, hey, well, now that you can't have a job, you're just going to be like this useless burden on society that starves to death. I don't think you're going to convince a huge portion of the population to go along with that. So we're going to have to find some other means of doing it.
You bring up the Star Trek example. It's kind of like having a society where it's almost a utopia where people don't have to, waste their lives away doing, menial jobs like working in like a supermarket or doing something like you could maybe live in a society where, you can do whatever you want to do. All of your basic needs are taken care of.
Right.
And, if you want to do artistic things, do artistic things. If you want to, be a scientist, I would do that. Just do whatever you want to do, and encourage people to be productive, but not have to force, put people in positions where they're kind of forced to do jobs they really, really don't want to do for the sake of, putting a roof over their head and food in their stomach.
People would definitely embrace things like that. They would embrace their interests.
That's
more
like I guess that's like the conservative's nightmare or something like that,
It is because...
they'd be disincentivized to work.
And as we all know, there's nothing more important than work.
Yeah, doing a menial job you don't give a shit about for people who hate you.
That's what life is really all about. All right, thanks for your question, Nick. I think that we're done here.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for everyone who listened.
Please hit the subscribe button.
If
you enjoy the Drunken Peasants, hit subscribe.
We're going to be here tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern Time in the United States. Feel free to tune in tomorrow. We already have the room up, the live chat and everything. Feel free to go in there, hit the like button early maybe. But yeah, we're signing off now, Drunken Peasants, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Sayonara.
Cocksuckers.